first of all, listen, it's interesting about all these young guys today. They never call on us and say, hey, thanks for the kind words and telling me how great a player I am. But when they play like crap and we call them out, we don't know what we're talking about. Listen, I'm easy to find, but I get sick of these guys complaining. These young guys, they never call us and say, when a coach is wrong, I'm going to call him out. But when players are wrong, I'm going to call them out. But listen, I'm going to criticize guys that they deserve it. And listen, they can kiss my ass if they don't like it.
What's going on, YouTube? Nathan back with another video presentation. Happy Friday. Hope everyone had a great day here. I hope everyone's ready for the weekend to be here. The weekends, for me, just go by fast. This is episode 16, excuse me, of the podcast, Big Day Talk Podcast, Season 4. Welcome. Let me see. I already seen some people that were in here earlier. I do apologize for starting late. I do apologize, Lucinda. What's going on? Ray, what's going on, bro? Before we get into the video, there's a few things I need to say up front. Last night's episode 15. Thank you for the support that you showed on that episode. That episode will go up later this evening on Anchor via Spotify. As far as the rest of season 4, so far it's uploaded on Spotify for you to listen to. As far as season 4 goes, I'm still trying to determine a end date. It'll probably be after Thanksgiving. So we're trying to transition into season 5. We're now at the end point with baseball. We're still in the early stages of basketball. The WNBA off season is about to start. College football is coming close to an end, and we're at the halfway mark for the NFL. So be on the lookout for that. Ladies and gentlemen, I have a very special guest. Welcome. Please help me welcome Mr. Anthony Handy, a.k.a. Mr. Fingaz. What's going on, sir? How are you doing this evening?
What's going on, brother? Oh, I'm special now, huh? That's what. No, I'm just kidding, man. It's just good to be here, brother. Thank you for having me on, man.
Thank you for taking time to be a guest on the podcast. I do appreciate you. Ladies and gentlemen, if you do not know Anthony Handy, he's one of the best college football analysts that I've seen on YouTube. Really knows his SEC his SEC knowledge of the game is really amazing. Falcon fan. We're going to get into that in a little bit. Also is a radio personality. So this is going to be a good episode. I hope you guys, if you're still with us, don't be afraid to ask questions. Leave them in the chat below. So Anthony, welcome.
Yes, sir.
So let's get the people to let us know who you are. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I am originally Georgia born and bred. Bow. World Series champions, baby. Bow. Well, those guys, we gonna talk about them in a minute. I'm originally Georgia born and bred. I did a 10-year stint in the military. I was a combat medic. I wound up getting out of the military in Virginia near the DMV up by DC. Stayed there for about 2 decades. Wound up moving out to Oklahoma City about 3 years ago. Married, 4 kids of my own, 2 more by marriage. But above all, you can see the piano back here behind me, the keyboards. Musician. I love music. I love all things about music, singing, for putting the music together, how you make all the parts come together to form a complete song. I also absolutely love, as a side effect of loving music, I also love radio. And in the last, living in the DC area, I really got fully immersed in talk radio, especially sports radio, because you've got 4 major franchises in the DC area. You got Maryland. You got a legendary basketball program in Georgetown. You got UVA. You got Virginia Tech. So it's right. I mean, you got the Washington football team, all of that stuff. So I really got immersed in sports radio, and that pretty much led me to where I am today. I'm not gonna give away too much because I know you have some more questions for me, but that led me to where we are sitting here right now with you and I having this interview.
Nice, nice, nice. So where did the drive for you when you became interested in radio? Where did that interest start?
I would say as a teenager, I used to make my own tapes and pretend that I was a radio DJ. Like I'd have my CD player hooked up. Well, that's actually more so college because the CD player was not for sale until to the general public until I was in college. I'd have my CD player and I'd be mixing together my mixes, and then I would come in on the microphone, and this is your guy. And I wasn't going by Mr. Fingaz back then. This is your DJ Anthony with smooth sounds of love and soul. And I'd be putting together these mixtapes, Troop and Brian McKnight and Boys to Men and Shy and all of that. H Town. There's a throwback for you.
Okay.
Somebody rocking, knocking on boots. Anyway, sorry. I didn't mean to go there on y'all. But that was what I got interested at. That was where I first got started. And then that got kind of sidetracked with the military and becoming a family man and all of those good things. But then when I got to the DC area, I was in San Antonio and I took a part-time job as a karaoke host. And then when I got to DC from San Antonio, I picked that right back up and became a karaoke host and corporate/wedding DJ. And so I've been on the mic now for the better part of, 22 years. In some form or fashion, I've been on the mic now for 22 years. And about 12, 13 years ago, another karaoke host friend of mine and a club DJ friend of mine, we got together and we're like, dude, wouldn't this be great if we did a podcast? And of course, you're talking 2008, 2009, before podcasting and vlogging was a big deal. And we got together and decided to do a podcast. It's called Quiet on the Set. And suffice to say that things that we talked about back then that were acceptable to talk about, I don't think we would be on the air right now just because of some of the things we talked about then. Not out of any disrespect for anybody or anything like that, but the topics that we talked about it way because we addressed everything with a sense of humor.
Right.
So we did that. And it was really highly successful. We already had a built-in following. We had my karaoke crew, his karaoke crew, my homeboys DJ crew. So we had a couple of hundred followers, and this was before YouTube really had taken off.
Right.
This was before Facebook had really taken off. This was before Instagram, before Twitter, before all of that. We had a couple of hundred followers, and people were watching us. We were streaming live before streaming was even a real big thing. Streaming was still basically for video conferencing. That was still a corporate thing where people were doing. We found a platform called Ustream.tv. So we would actually go live every Sunday and do a 3-hour bit, 3 1-hour segments. And we had bits and what pissed you off today and all kinds of things. And we had sound bites. Like if I said, we talked about our celebrity crush, and my celebrity crush at that point was she played Aeon Flux, and she also played the evil stepmother in Snow White and the Huntsman from South Africa. I can't remember her name to save my face. And it's funny because she was my celebrity crush. But anytime one of us mentioned our celebrity crush, we had a soundbite we would play. Like it was, we did live remote shows and had bars full of people to come see these live remote shows. So it's always been a thing for me, but we got away from that. The one guy moved back home to Jersey and I moved out here. And then I started doing indie and unsigned right before I moved out here. I was doing indie and unsigned. And my homeboy Dave was just getting out of the military and he'd been doing this show called The Ball Pit. And he was like, hey man, I'm moving back to Virginia. We could do Ball Pit. I'm like, yeah, cool. And right after we shook on that deal and said we were going to do it, about 2 weeks later, it was like, hey bro, so yeah, we're moving to Oklahoma about 2 weeks after you get back. So we did a couple of shows in Virginia, and then we figured out how to do the whole thing via Zoom. Once I got out here and I went back home 2 years ago, we did a live remote in Fairfax. He came out here. We did a side by side here at my crib, and so that's where I am. That's I've always wanted to be, because I always was fascinated by the guy on the radio and how they could, the fast talking guys and the views and opinions expressed by such and such and such and such, and that was shared by so and so, and the movie announcer guy, in a world where one man wants to be a podcast host. Like, that was my thing, bro. And then I do these and then my personalities come out with the voices. So that was, it all started 30 years ago with me in my room laying on the floor with the 2 CD players, making these mixtapes. And then my mother come in and go, "Boy, what you doing laying on the floor with all that? Come put all that foolishness up and go to bed." So, and now here we are. And that's what, and which led me to, all of that led us to where we are right here, right now, in this space and time, having this conversation.
So I just want to ask a side question. So do you still do the Ball Pit podcast?
The Ball Pit just did its 206th episode. Yeah, we did 206 episodes, bro.
Wow.
It's 206th episode 2 weeks ago. My co-host is working on some things. Nothing in a bad way. No animosity. We didn't have a bad breakup or nothing like that. He's just got a lot going on in his life.
Taking a hiatus.
Yeah. So, well, what we said was it was probably going to be the last episode, but he's actually working a full-time job in school. In school, and after the last couple of years, he just decided to say, you know what? I'm just going to enjoy life for a little bit. And I was like, bro, and we've been good friends for 15, 16 years. So it's no skin off my teeth. I said, bro, do what you need to do. If you decide to come back, I'm right here. And he's like, you know what? If I win the lottery and I'm independent, I said, this will probably be the last show, unless I become independently wealthy. And in which case I'll be like, hey man, let's pick the show back up. And I was like, well, if you become independently wealthy, then I need to become at least like close to independent, but not, I don't have to be independent. I could be semi-independent. Like, I don't have to be like Destiny's Child. I don't have to be an independent woman. I could just be a, you know what I'm saying? Just a couple of crumbs, you know what I'm saying?
I got
you. Pay the house off, pay the house off, and start saving some money for retirement.
I hear you. So I want to go back to when you started doing radio. Who was like the inspiration for you to start getting into radio when you were coming along?
Donnie Simpson.
Okay.
There was Donnie Simpson, Tom Joyner. There was a guy in my hometown. He went by the radio moniker Spanky McFarland, and he used to always come on and go, hey, his tagline when he came on, he went, eggs ain't poultry, grits ain't grocery, and the Mona Lisa was a man, y'all. This is your man, Spanky McFarland. And that was his thing. It was a line from a song. It's called Eggs Ain't Grocery, Grits, Eggs Ain't Poultry, Grits Ain't Grocery, and the Mona Lisa was a man. Or the song was called Eggs Ain't Poultry, Grits Ain't Grocery, and then he added that other thing, but that was his big thing. Rest in peace to the great Spanky McFarland. And if you were under a certain demographic, because I was in high school at the time, like high school kids and young college kids loved this dude. He was number one in that demographic all the way across the board.
Nice.
So yeah, and then we used to have the R&B station used to have a morning show where they would come on and do a bit. It was Stormin' Norman in the morning, and then he would do this bit called Little Stormy, where he would do the chipmunk thing with his voice and read off the school menu, and then he would let folks call in like from different high schools and do shout outs to the high schools and who you shouting out, blah blah blah. In DC there was a whole lot of Flex, DJ Flex, because they would have that go-go. They do the shout outs. They were like, rep your hood like it's all good, yo. Rep your hood like it's all. Oh, you in that area? You know that. I'm telling you, like you don't live in that area. So Flex and when it came to the talk radio, the junkies. I mean, I could rattle off all of those shows that were on JFK before they went all sports, but the junkies, Don and Mike, Big O and Dukes, El Jefe and J Dubs. Ron and Fez, Pete Rothstein, Rogenstein. I can't remember his name. He's up in New York now, but all of those guys. So I wanted to do more talk than music.
Okay.
And and then of course the Hot Morning Mess. I used to listen to the whole Hot 99.5 lineup all day.
Now, what about like Ricky Smiley?
Oh yeah, Ricky Smiley. Ricky Smiley's my dude too, man. I love Ricky Smiley when he did them church announcements. I can't even do the voice. Miss Bernice, come on, do them church announcements. It's a whole plethora of people. Ricky Smiley, Steve Harvey, D.L. Hughley, the Breakfast Club, Sway in the Morning. By the way, Sway in the Morning, my favorite episode is still the one where Damon and Shawn Wayans came in and just took over. They just took over. They was like, it's like, yo, Sway, why your hat look like it got a part in it? Like it's just clown.
Anyway. I've fallen off with the Breakfast Club past couple years. I mean, I listen to it every once in a blue moon, but
a lot of people don't care for Charlemagne the God.
He's kind of one of the reasons.
Yeah, but a lot of people don't like the way that he brings people in and sets them up like he's got all these receipts, and then just leave people looking at him like, although still to this day, my favorite is that was last year before when he had Soulja Boy on. I love that. But sometimes it's fun to watch. I mean, I know mental health is a serious issue, okay?
Yes.
But sometimes it just becomes something that you just go back to and go, wow, that was absolutely crazy.
What's going on? Good to see you. Welcome.
Hey, Lady Shaya. Good God, what was I saying? Soulja Boy on the Breakfast Club and Kanye West on Sway in the Morning. How, Sway? How? You don't have all the answers. He's like, but Kanye, I'm just trying to talk to you, brother. How, Sway? Like that's
when I saw that, that's when I knew something with Kanye wasn't right. But
well, I'm just gonna say this again: mental awareness, and mental health is a serious issue.
Yes, it is, ladies and gentlemen.
Kanye's grounding rod his entire life was his mother dying.
Mm-hmm.
And when his mother passed away, he started to slide off in a different direction.
But also too, like when you think about it, he never really had the opportunity to grieve.
Right.
I think especially after his second album. I want to say it was after his second album. Because after the debut album, that's one of my favorite. That's my favorite album of his. But he's never really had the opportunity to grieve. And I think when he got with Kim, that's when it all just.
He was really just almost right at the apex of where he started to jump off. Now that wasn't his apex, of course, but he was just getting at that apex when his mom passed away. So he's right in the middle of being one of the hottest hip hop artists on the face of the planet, and his mom's gone, and we know what happens when you get with a Kardashian. All you got to do is ask Reggie Bush, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Heisman Trophy winner, one of the most electrifying football players on the face of the planet, had himself a Pepsi commercial where he was trying to tackle a Pepsi soda machine, got with Kim Kardashian, and that game against the Philadelphia Eagles, the shot heard around the world.
Oh, that's right. When he got the screen pass, he got laid out.
He caught that screen pass, and he got trucked, and he looked like Harambe trying to get up. On all fours. Rest in peace, Harambe. Shout out to I'm pulling Sean Spencer. Shout out to my man Harambe. Anyway, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to take the show over, bro. You got questions to ask.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Those that are joining us right now, if you have any questions for Mr. Anthony Handy, please feel free to leave them type them, post them in the chat. Please feel free.
Yes, please. I like questions.
He was diagnosed as bipolar when he was with Amber Rose. Yeah. So with the sports side, who was it sports wise that you were like, okay, I want to do sports radio?
Larry Munson, hands
Okay.
down. Larry Munson,
The great Larry Munson.
the late great Larry Munson, the voice of the Georgia Bulldogs, who came up with sayings. I think it was 90 something or other. I don't remember when specifically in the 90s, where Georgia played Tennessee and Tennessee was favored and Georgia beat them. And Larry Munson quoted, "We just stepped on their face with a hobnail boot and broke their nose." And then when they asked him about it later on, he admitted he had no clue what a hobnail was. It just something that just came out. Or during the 1980 championship season, of course, the era of Herschel Walker, the Georgia-Florida game, our biggest rivalry game of the year. And Buck Bellew hits wide receiver Lindsey Scott for a wide open pass. And Lindsey, run. I mean, you could tell that like there was no you couldn't say that there was no bias in his voice. You know what I'm saying? It's like, run, Lindsey Scott. He jumped up and down and broke a chair. The late, great Larry Munson. Let's see, who else? I'm not even going to lie. I am not a fan, but I lived in the D.C. area for 20 years. And when they used to be called the Redskins, their broadcast would be on WJFK. George Michael, Sonny Jurgensen, and Sam. Okay. Yeah, George, Sonny, and Sam. And I used to love listening to those guys every Sunday. Actually, to be completely honest, all of the Washington sports announcers, the Capitals, God, what were the guys' names that used to call the games to the Caps? And the guys that used to call the games for the Nationals? Mm-hmm. You know, remember where you are so you can remember where you were. Another curly W's in the books. Bang, zoom, go the fireworks. Like those guys it was like, you know what I mean? It's like so me not even being a Washington sports fan, when the Caps won the Stanley Cup, I choked up because I know all my buddies that were, oh man, we suck again. We lost in the playoffs. And then when the Nationals won the World Series and I was at home, I was here, man. Nope, I was still in Virginia when it happened. I was still in Virginia when they won both of those. But still, I'm at home watching. But I'm watching with the sound off on the TV with the radio turned on. That's how you know. I think you have reached your pinnacle as a radio announcer for sports. Because I almost never watched the TV with the TV sound on. It's me and my father sitting on the couch watching the dogs play with the radio on.
I like that.
You know,
I like that.
I actually I talk. I keep
doing what you do. I appreciate you for joining us. Thank you. Appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you for hanging out with us. My father said, I heard Larry Munson say, second and three to get the line, second and three, line again into 2. The dogs are knocking on the door. And I said, and I went and checked the front door, literally, no lie, true story. I went and checked the front door. My father says, "But what are you doing?" I said, the man on the radio said the dogs is knocking on the door. I was looking, I didn't see no dogs out there. He said, son, that means they're in the term red zone did not exist then, but it was a goal to go situation. And he said, that means they're close to the end zone to get ready to score. I said, oh, but why didn't he just say that? But that's a memory I have of Larry Munson. Like I heard, I listened to so many games during that championship. Are you all right? I think I broke Nate, y'all. I'm sorry. Deep breaths, Nate. Hold on. Goose fraba.
I'm not going to even sit here and act like I didn't know this was coming. Or act like I know this was coming because I did it.
Hey, look, you knew the job was dangerous when you took it.
Hey, look, I understand. So I want to transition because you are a graduate of HBCU. You went to the Savannah State University.
I did.
Can you talk about your time? Well, how did you get in at Savannah State and your time there? Because you also went to school with the great Shannon Sharp. So,
absolutely. Man,
So
man, listen, don't act. Hey, look, don't act like I'm on TV and those of y'all that just figured out who I am because y'all see me on TV with Skip Bayless every week every day on Undisputed. I've been like this a long time. I used to be down there in the King Frazier Student Center playing this fool right here that's talking to Nate playing pool, talking trash while I ran him off the table. I've been handing out hot flaming L's for 30 years. Anyway, thank you for the setup. Y'all, hey, you see what he did there? He just went, here you go. There it is. Anyway, actually, Savannah State University was originally called the Georgia State Industrial College for Colored Youth. Okay, It was founded in 1890 on a land grant when they set aside the land for black students to go to school. And a lot of these schools were basically, they were either agricultural and mechanical, which is, for those of you that ever wonder what A&M stands for, they were either agricultural and mechanical, so that young men and young women, so young men could learn trades, right. Or they were training schools so that black people could learn how to teach other black people, and they became teachers. Oh, I told you I went to school with Shannon Shaw. I sit across the pool table from him and watch him play ball. That's how we do. And me and Sterling, you know Sterling, Nate, you know Sterling, right? You know, they play for some team up in Green Bay. I don't even know who he is, but that's my brother. I used to ride around campus in a clean white Mercedes Benz. No, it was glorious. Anyway, let me come back. Don't get me started because I will do these voices all day. So they would leave the school and then they would go and teach in black schools and teach young black men and women. That's where a lot of our black teachers came from. So if you're wondering, if you're over a certain age and you came along, and anybody my age or older, you came along and you went to a school that was all black and you had black teachers and black faculty members and all of that stuff and black administrators, that's where those black teachers came from, because there were some of us getting into Yale and Harvard, the Cornell University. We may touch on that a little bit later. Sure. But for the most part, we went to the Gramblins, we went to the A&Ts, we went to the Savannah States, we went to the Howards, and then we left those schools, Morgan State, and we left those schools and we went off to teach. Some folks took other curriculums and became doctors and lawyers, et cetera, et cetera. But that's what the Georgia State Industrial College was for. Now, at some point, the name became shortened to the Georgia State College, and then it became renamed Savannah State College. And Savannah State College, on that campus, is on College Street out in Thunderbolt, Georgia, right on the city line between Thunderbolt and Savannah, is where a young woman from Hartwell, Georgia, met a young football player from Savannah, and they fell in love. And when they graduated, they got married. And 11 months later, a bouncing 6 pound, 8 ounce baby boy came into the world. And that baby boy was me. And my mother, my father, my father's brother, one of my mother's brothers, several of my mother's aunts and uncles all attended Savannah State. Okay. My mother worked on campus at Savannah State with the Upward Bound program. And for those that don't know about Upward Bound, I'm sure a lot of folks do, but if you don't, the Upward Bound program works. It's a nationwide program where they work with underprivileged children, and they take them out and they expose them to things that they would not normally get a chance to see because of the demographic in which they are growing up. Yep. And to date, they still have a very high, I think it's between 75 and 80% of those children that go to Upward Bound wind up enrolling in college. And there's it's like on the high end of 70 or more percent that wind up enrolling in an HBCU because it comes through the HBCU. As a matter of fact, the first African-American senator from the state of Georgia, the Reverend Dr. Raphael Warnock from Savannah, Georgia, is a product of the Upward Bound program at Savannah State University.
Did not know that.
Yes. Also my esteemed fraternity brother, who actually also happens to be the pastor of the Ebenezer Baptist Church in Atlanta, Georgia, which was pastored by the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, who also is an esteemed fraternity brother. So anyway, there have been doctors and lawyers and bankers and businessmen and women and great educators that have all come out of Savannah State University. The first African American, I think the only African American to date, to my knowledge, and I've kind of lost track because I don't go to air shows anymore, but the first African American pilot to fly with the Blue Angels, Lieutenant Commander Donnie Cochran, was a graduate of Savannah State University. Shannon Sharp went to Savannah State University. Comedian Tone Bell, a graduate of Savannah State University. Comedian Red Grant, that tours with Cat Williams, graduate of Savannah State University. So the motto of that school is, you can go anywhere from here. You can go anywhere from here. But anyway, I did all that talking. My parents went to school there, so they would go to homecoming game every year.
Okay.
And my mom worked on campus, so my mom would come and pick me up, and I would be on campus with her. So I would go up in Hill Hall, in the study hall, and do my homework. And then when I got my homework done, I could go out on the yard. So I was out on the yard, and I'd play catch with the Qs and toss the frisbee around with the Kappas and go over there and hang out with the Alphas and the AKs. Oh my God, he's just such a cute little boy. Miss Handy, your boy's so cute. And all of that stuff, because the yard at Savannah State, is a traffic circle, and all the Greek organizations have their plots on the yard. So now here's the funny thing. When it came time to graduate high school, I had been accepted to Duke, University of Florida, University of Georgia, and Georgia Southern. And I chose to go to University of Georgia my freshman year. Dog fan, about that life. Went up there, was completely unprepared, was completely overestimated my level of maturity, being away from my parents and taking care of what it needed to be taken care of. So I'm peeling back layers here. I'm like an onion. Ogres are like onions. Onions have layers, donkey. So I'm peeling back the layers. So at the end of the academic year, I got a nice letter saying, "Thank you for the free room and board, but you're gonna have to go someplace else and get your grades up, or you can come back." So I went home with my tail between my legs, because I was an honor roll student. I had done science projects. I was in the French club and the math club and the quiz bowl team and the track team and in high school. And then I went off to school and failed out because I didn't do what I needed to do. So I enrolled at Savannah State. And Savannah State turned out to be just what I needed. Savannah State, there were people there that taught at Savannah. Savannah State has been such a part of my life outside of me actually attending school. Almost all of the Black folk that I knew growing up that were close to my mother and father were Savannah State graduates. So I had all of these mentors around me my entire life. Savannah State, Savannah State, Savannah State, Savannah State. And then I wind up on campus as a student and had some of the same professors my parents had. And these were people that would take the time and you had professors who would be like, "Well, I see you have a problem with so-and-so with this, but your grades aside from that are excellent. Is there anything that I can do to help you get through this?" And that was a level of dedication to the students that you didn't get at a University of Georgia. It wasn't that they didn't care. It's just that when I went to the University of Georgia at that time back in 1988, they had a student body of over 20,000 students. And that was just the undergrad.
Oof, yeah, you're just a number.
Yeah, you basically were just a number, and you did what you needed to do, or I had a class. I had an entomology class my freshman year. An entomology class in the winter quarter. Yeah, and I never saw the professor. The class was taught by the graduate assistant. I know we had a professor. We never saw him. You went in, you turned in your work. If you turned in your work, you got the grade. If you didn't turn in the work, you didn't get the grade. I never saw my professor. I didn't even know what my professor looked like. This is before internet where you can go online and look them up. So I went home to Savannah State, and I had those professors that nurtured me. And then because they knew who my parents were, They looked out for me. They kept me out of certain situations and tried to steer me towards other opportunities. And eventually, at the end of that year, I wound up pledging the fraternity, the first, the oldest, the coldest, and the boldest Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. 31,
Nice.
31 years in the fold now. 06 to the good bros. And that was where I started to come out of my shell. That was where I started singing in the concert choir, and I started singing in public. I never sang in public ever. I was afraid to sing in public. I kept my singing to myself. Well, when you pledge in a fraternity, and we were openly pledging back then, when you pledge in a fraternity and you're out in the plot and your big brother say, "Sing me a song," well, damn it, you better come up with a song to sing. So we got to singing. So we sang a lot of H-Town. No, H-Town, that song wasn't even out then. We sang Shy.
Okay.
Which was ironic because here's the irony in that. No, their song wasn't out yet either. Here's the irony in that. Funny thing about Shy. Take 6, that's what we sang a lot of. The irony of Shy is that Shy were members of the spring 1990 Alpha Phi Alpha pledge line at Howard University.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, I was online at Savannah State University. And I am a number 7. And I am good friends with the number 7 from the Howard line. His line name was Shy. They said to him, "Hey, we're going to form this singing group. Do you mind if we use your line name?" He's like, "Yeah, sure." So that's how they came up with the name Shy. Anyway, so we did a lot of singing and stuff. I came out of my shell. I learned a lot about who I was as a person. It was at that time that, I met the first wife while I was working a little part-time job, and I joined the military, and boom, gone, after that. But Savannah State University will always be, the alma mater, when I sing the alma mater, sometimes I get teared up. You know how you see people, you see veterans when they play God Bless the USA, when they get teared up. When I hear the Savannah State alma mater, I get teary-eyed. I get a couple of creepers because Savannah State will always be, "We hail the SSC." Anyway, so.
Well, I know I'll be like that when I graduate from Towson State University. So
yeah. Are you enrolled now or what?
Yeah, I am.
Oh. So yeah, it's an experience unlike any other. And don't get me wrong, at a PWI, you generate a lot of memories, just like at HBCUs. You go to class, you have your fun, you get in trouble, just like at HBCUs. But at a PWI, it's those opportunities that you kind of have to seek out. You kind of have to seek those out, especially those big schools, the Georgias and the Auburns and the Harvards and the Dukes because you got. I would imagine the student body at University of Georgia right now is more like undergrad is more like 60, 70K.
That sounds about right.
And you are one in a number of 60,000 people. And you have to seek those opportunities out. At an HBCU, those opportunities seek you out. And it's more kind of out of a necessity because just like at PWI, some of y'all folks ain't never been away from home before. Some of these are kids from other towns in the same state or neighboring states that have never been away from home, and you bond together out of that necessity. And I have friendships that I still hold just as tight to this day with people that I know from Savannah State as they were back then. So that's how Savannah State became a big part of who I am. And then, of course, it didn't hurt matters much that Shannon was just running up and down the field. Listen, most of y'all didn't get a chance to see Shannon Sharp play in college. I did before the internet age. And let me tell you, if you thought he was a beast in the NFL, he was just as much of a beast in college.
I agree with that. Yeah.
He was a man. He was a grown man. He was running away from dudes. And we're talking about fast dudes. Like Albany State was always our big rival. Oh, Shannon would tear them up. Ball get hiked. Shannon is already 5 steps off the ball by the time the quarterback has gotten 2 steps back in the pocket.
Oh, goodness.
He was that kind of – he was fast. Oh, yeah, fast. Blazing fast. They called me there. Look, I went one time to a slam dunk contest. You probably seen this clip, the slam dunk contest. I was just sitting there watching, just watching whatever. I'm watching the guys do their thing. So I ran back over to the gym, to the dorm real quick, threw them a little shorts, a little thing. I come back in there here and said, oh. So I had a thing. I had 3 of my friends sit down there up underneath the goal, right? And I can't just, and I went up and I just kept going up. They call me the escalator because I come up slow.
Oh, goodness.
You got to see that clip. It's hilarious. I love watching it. But
Shannon Sharp really tried to dunk.
Oh, he did dunk. Shannon had hops.
Oh, let me see this.
Now, the video itself, I don't think is in existence anywhere because that was back in the 90s. But he did go back and watch it. You don't have to do it now. There's a clip where he does on Undisputed where he talks about the slam dunk contest.
He's with Steven Jackson. Let's play this, ladies and gentlemen. Shannon Sharp. I did not know this.
Did you ever do a contest?
I could never do it because that's not my game. I'm a finesser. I'm a scorer. I was never been a jumper.
Yeah, no.
I probably dunked on one person my whole career.
They had a dunk contest once upon a time, Alex, at Savannah State. I didn't enter it.
Okay.
Let me tell you what happened. I was just sitting out there chilling. Everybody, ooh.
Where at Savannah State?
We're at Savannah State.
Okay.
And everybody oohing and ahhing. So I snuck back to my dorm room, got my little outfit, had my Jordan, the cements. I came back in there. They saw me come down. They saw me come down the step. Everybody, ooh. They got hyped. I brought out 2 guys, put them in chairs, took off.
Wait, they were sitting down?
They were in chairs. Yeah.
Well, that's not exactly.
You took off?
I took off. I got a picture of it.
Oh, yeah, I got to see that.
I'm going to write a picture.
I was about to
Did
ask
you
for
have to
footage.
step on their heads?
No.
Some elevation?
You got to realize I was almost 50-foot triple jumper. So they call you boy the escalator because I go real slow. Okay. You know, the elevator take you up real fast. That's the escalator. I go slow. If this when you going off, I'm going a little high.
You have to. That
Was that when you weighed 190?
I'm about 215.
215?
Yeah.
Wow.
I told you. You thought I was making that up? Shannon Sharp was the man on campus, dude, and women used to get mad. Listen, let me tell you, they getting mad if they was talking to Shannon in the student center at lunch, and they saw him talking to somebody else at 3-4 o'clock on the other side of the yard. Ooh, they get salty.
No, oh my goodness.
And listen, he hadn't even graduated and had gone to the league yet. But his brother Sterling was playing in Green Bay, and Shannon was driving a pretty black Beamer, pretty clean. And then when he got tired of that, when Sterling set him up with a white with a cream interior photo Mercedes Benz.
So I know Sterling went to South Carolina. And Shannon, he was a mid draft pick out of Savannah State by Denver.
Mm-hmm.
So let me ask you, what do you have? Is that the only Shannon story that you have? Do you have another one?
Well, you mean the slam dunk contest, or?
I mean, do you have another Shannon story for the?
Well, I told the story, but I think I told the story. I don't know if it was on your show or if it was on one of the LTF shows, but Shannon Sharp and I once had a duel on the rickety ass pool table in the student union. Because you know how black folk do sometimes. They be like, oh, we ain't gonna spend the money for that just yet. But there was a rickety pool table, and you had to figure out ways to you really had to test your pool skills. Like on a regulation table and everything is right, you just pop and the ball go where it wanted to go. On this table, it was kind of like the franchise boys kind of lean with it, rock with it a little bit. So you kind of
like
had
Boston Garden back in the day.
Right. Right. So Shannon and I were playing, and we just kept going back and forth. And he blocked me, and he make a shot and block me, and I make a shot and block him trying to set up a shot. We spent I kid you not, about 20, 25 minutes trying to set up shots. And then finally, Shannon was like, all right, I'm done playing with this dude. He just like, and so he's like, all right. So then he missing up, pop, pop, pop. And then it got down to the 8 ball. And I was trying to make a rail shot at an angle from the right corner pocket. I was trying to hit it and make it go down the rail, ride the rail in the pocket. And it was called shots. So it wasn't that just went in. It was called shots. So I said corner pocket. They always, like Shannon said, because it was way back up off the thing. Man, look, it got quiet. I lined that thing up, pop, and it tapped the ball, and it rolled just a little to the right. It hit the top and bounced off. I was like, oh! And the ball came back down, and it just right. It was just the right angle. Shannon knocked that ball off the table, and I remember some girl in the crowd saying, "Oh, he mad." I wasn't mad. I just wanted to be able to say that I beat Shannon Sharp playing pool. Then look, he made the shot, and you know how he look at Skip? Sometime he made the shot, then he looked at me. And I dapped him up, and that was it. Like, he and I were never boys. We didn't hang out, but that was about the extent of me hanging out with Shannon. But you see him riding around campus, and you could hear him in the student union as soon as he came in. That boy been loud. He didn't just go to the NFL and get loud. He's been loud. But ain't nothing wrong with it. Look, so I don't know who it was said it, but they said it ain't bragging if you can do it.
That's true. That's true. I want to stay on the HBCU topic, and then we're going to transition. When you look at today's HBCUs, like particularly, for example, I'm not sure if you've heard about with Howard University, where, you know, particularly with the dormitory situation, the students have finally got their voice heard with the living conditions with the dorms, you know, mold, busted up pipes, flooding, different things like that. How important is it to get media attention, not on the negative aspect of HBCUs, but the positives of HBCUs?
Well, the unfortunate thing that I have seen in my lifetime as an adult is that, generally speaking, the it's only the elite HBCUs that get the lion's share of the attention. Like a couple of years ago when Robert Smith just donated enough money to pay off everybody's student
right. Loan, yeah.
Or when Chadwick Boseman shows up to give the commencement address at Howard, when things like that happen to Howard. But for the most part, you don't really see a lot of media attention on things like that. And the messed up part is there's some beautiful things that go on at the HBCUs that people know nothing about. One of the things that I like to do every year during graduation season, I will watch it. There's never a time when I will not watch it when I run across it. The Morehouse University graduation ceremony. All those young Black men walking side by side, and with the African drums, and they're just walking, and you with the just walking like men, just making their way to the procession to the graduation. It is a beautiful thing to see. It's a beautiful thing to see, and they do a similar thing at Spelman with the sister college, the all-female college. How important is it to have that attention? I think it's very much so. Because we had student protest. We had a couple of student protests when I was at Savannah State over the financial aid office. I think if there's a universal problem at every HBCU, it is dealing with the financial aid office. Financial aid office and registration. And the students pledged. They did a sit-in. They did a sit-in right down at the student union, and then they did a peaceful march. They had the student union president, the SGA president. I'm sorry, Keith Brown, the illustrious member of another D9, the Omega Psi Phi fraternity. Shouts out, my brother.
Shout out to you.
He led the student protest, went down and presented the demands. They didn't get all of the demands met, but they got enough of them met that they were satisfied with. But it was the same thing, man. Some of those dormitories were just as run down. The dormitory that my line brothers and I were hiding out in when we were pledging. Hell, I think my daddy lived in the dormitory back in the 60s. You know what I'm saying? Yep. They eventually tore that one down. And they renovated a lot of the dormitories. They built some new ones on campus. Like, monies and things have started to come in as the alumni base grows. And the alumni base from my generation is going on and doing. A lot of them are going, like, they tried. The goal is to each generation do better. So those folks that have gone on and been successful in investment and business and things like that, they are giving back to the school. So that's the key. It doesn't matter if it's $1 or $1 million. Every dollar helps. So if you are a graduate of an HBCU or you just love your local HBCU, if you got a couple dollars, send them some money because they need it. They do. They need it.
I definitely agree with that.
And to I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off,
Yes,
but
sir.
I don't know if you were going there, but to bring it back around, this man is not an alumnus of an HBCU, but he decided that he was going to go back and bring the spotlight back to the HBCUs. And Deion Sanders is coach of Jackson State, and
Yep.
he has done a phenomenal job. Like, Jackson State is in the sports headlines now. What he has done with that program has garnered so much attention that now the D1, now the rumors are, will Deion go to Florida State? Will Deion go to Florida? Will Deion go to will Deion go to LSU? Do I think I got a question here from Russell?
Russell Goodacre, good to see you, buddy.
Do you think being a head coach at Jackson State will help HBCUs on a short and long-term basis? Do I? I absolutely do. I think that I know Deion is not a man to take on a task lightly, as his play on the gridiron has shown. He's not a man to take on a task lightly. I think he sincerely set out to bring HBCUs back to prominence. I mean, the homecoming, Jackson State's homecoming, largest homecoming crowd for HBCU ever, almost 60,000 people. Like Savannah State Theodore Wright Stadium at max capacity might hold about 4 or 5, but just the fact that he's garnered that much attention, that now you've got. I mean, he worked deals behind the scenes to get him on television, on national TV. Yeah, he worked deals behind the scenes to get them a larger stadium to play in. And if he keeps on doing the fact that he went and got what was it? He got one of his homeboys, the Taylor, to hook them up. Because you see the guys from Auburn. Like, I love my dogs, but you see the guys get off the bus. They got on their nice suit, their white shirt, and the black jacket with the black jacket with the red tie. And then, they're nice and clean coming out the bus. He said our boys should be the same way. So he got them hooked up with the custom made, with the logo and everything. Go ahead on, Deion. I ain't mad at you. And he's got them boys believing. Yeah. He's got them boys believing. I sincerely think that they will not only win the SWAC, that they will probably win the they'll win the SWAC, and they'll make a deep run in they're in the FCS, right? Yeah.
Yes, they are.
I think they'll make a run in the FCS. Like, I'm serious. Don't like JMU and no knock to JMU, also a phenomenal program, but the JMUs and the programs of that like, y'all better watch out, because Coach Prime is coming for you. And he also brought Eddie George. Now Eddie George is at Tennessee State.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, honestly, Deion didn't need that money. Deion got plenty of money. So, and that's the question. Is he going to go to Florida? Because Florida will pay him $6 million. Deion don't need that money.
It's not about the money. It's about
giving back. It's about giving back, because he didn't go to an HBCU. He had all the luxuries of going to a D1, a what was at that time a top tier Division I program with the athletic facilities. They didn't have to go use the gym, the weight set in the gym, just run over. They had their own athletic facilities, their own dormitories. Matter of fact, I was at University of Georgia. They've got the Butts Mare facility. They've got an indoor practice facility. They've got an outdoor practice facility. They've got this weight room that would make Gold's Gym jealous. They've got athletic trainers. They've got doctors on staff. They've got they have their own dining. They have their own dormitory with their own dining facility inside the dormitory. One of those work study programs at University of Georgia is to sign up to help tutor the football. They pay kids to tutor the football players, the basketball players, the gymnasts, the softball players. Like, that's the kind of stuff they have at the University of Georgia. I'm not saying they don't deserve that. What I am saying is these kids should get that too.
The same opportunity. I agree with that.
They should get that same opportunity, because if you level the playing field, I mean, you think about all of the guys that came out of the HBCUs: Sweetness, Shannon Sharp, Jerry Rice. Those are the top 3 that come off the top of my head. But all of these guys that came out of Doug Williams at Grambling, and those guys were the exception and not the rule. If these guys are set up for that same level of success, you see more of these guys making their way into the league, if that's their desire, or doing something different. Because a lot of these guys playing in the HBCUs, football is all they got, and they're using it as a chance to get a college degree. So yes, to answer your question, Russell, absolutely. And I hope and I pray that there are more guys that will come back and do the same. I think Doug is still on staff at the front office in Ashburn, isn't he?
Unfortunately, yes, he is.
I think Doug would do well. Well, actually, he did at Grambling, and he did pretty well. But I think if Doug could get a job somewhere as an athletic director and he could work on a program at HBCU, he would definitely be a good name to bring in some folks at HBCUs.
Well, I think Doug tried to do the best at Grambling, but I think the politics of what was going on, particularly with the funding of their gym, of their workout room, where you saw like the padding was out, all that kind of thing. I think he kind of just got frustrated with the politics. As we all know, like this is just this is not just with HBCUs. This is with any college. It's really the board of trustees that have the final say of what goes on at a college, respectively, whether it's a four-year university or community. They're the ones that have more of the control. So I would like to see him back at the HBCU for sure. My next question with the HBCU, do you see guys, like, for example, you saw a Henry Ruggs or a Devontae Smith or a Jalen Waddle. Could you see guys like Deion Sanders getting them to come to HBCUs and perform? Be on their teams as opposed to going to a Alabama or Clemson, Ole Miss, LSU. Could you see Deion Sanders getting guys like that to come to HBCU?
Oh, he has already. That was all a big hullabaloo when he was at Jackson State. I think last year was his first year, right?
Yes.
And there were a lot of your boy L. Hendricks is on. He's giving you some love there.
Henry, what's going on, bro? Hope you're doing. Hope Memphis is treating you well, grabbing some food. I got you. I see you.
my OG and my Dukes and my Pa Dukes okay. My parents live right outside of Memphis. I love going down there because I love going down and I hate going down there because I get a little fat every time I go down there. Man, don't go down there. Go to BB King's restaurant, get to eat, and you'll never leave. Especially go in a couple of them hood spots where you get to pulled pork and stuff like that, and they give it to you in them little containers that look like the checkered picnic tables.
Yep.
That's where you might have a rusty screen door. You might have to swat a fly two-way, but ooh, Jesus. Anyway, sorry. That was all a hullabaloo. Was after that first season, and kids started seeing what he did, and they were like, "Oh snap, Coach Prime! I watched Coach Prime when I was a kid. I want to go play for Coach Prime. I want to go be with a team because Coach Prime is a winner. He knows how to win. He won at Florida State. He's got Super Bowls with Dallas, San Francisco, and had an illustrious career with Atlanta, even though Atlanta didn't really do anything big while he was there. He still was a superstar in Atlanta. This man knows how to win. I want to go play for somebody that knows how to win. He flipped I want to say he flipped about 9 or 10 kids, freshmen this year, whether they're freshmen or whether they're redshirting or whatever. He flipped a lot of kids from some D1 programs. They decided they wanted to go play for Coach Prime. And as long as he keeps doing what he's doing and these kids keep seeing it, he's going to start flipping more kids.
I agree with that.
And that is when the big boys are going to sit up and start paying attention.
Yeah,
because
I definitely agree with that.
You want to go back, and seriously, this is only like maybe 2.5 generations. Okay, we're talking my father's day. Hey, chatting with Common Sense, how are you? In my father's day, or right before my father.
What's going on, chatting? Good to see you.
A lot of black athletes did not get the opportunity to play at Alabama, to play at Georgia, to play at a USC. They went to Grambling. They went to Alabama A&M. They went to North Carolina A&T. They went to Savannah State, which is why. George Atkinson is another one. George Atkinson, I don't think he went to Savannah State, but he played his high school football in Savannah, Georgia. He played he played on the Super Bowl with the Redskins. The Redskins, the Raiders. And he and my father knows George. As a matter of fact, I think George lived in the same neighborhood where we were living at one point before we moved out to the suburbs.
Okay.
But you that's why you saw all of these guys that guys that played professional ball, and there weren't very many of them. That's why they went to these schools. That's why Eddie Robinson had such a phenomenal program, because he had his pick of the cream of the crop, because we couldn't go to those schools
at that time. No, we couldn't.
And then what wound up happening was these schools started bringing players over, and they were like, we need to go get some of these guys. And they started letting those guys come and play. Like Kanye said, harder, better, faster, stronger. They were stronger and faster. And I mean, so now it is the preference of these kids, where kids back in the day were like, I want to go to Savannah State. I want to go to Albany State. I want to go to Fort Valley State. Now kids' preferences, I'm gonna go to Bama and play for Nick Saban, or I'm gonna go to Georgia and play for Kirby Smart, or I'm gonna go to Ohio State and play for Ryan Day, or I'm gonna go to maybe not Texas and play for Steve Sarkisian, but still, you get what I'm saying. Like I want to go.
Do you feel like I want to ask you a question? Do you feel that is because that is there? If I play for a top tier school like that, that's my ticket to get into the NFL, or do you feel like?
Yes.
Okay.
And I say that because more so maybe 10 or 15 years ago than now, because with the advances you've got kids that have Rivals 24/7 pages in middle school, and they get scouted from middle school through high school. Spencer Rattler is a perfect example. Lincoln Riley was making trips up and down the road to court this kid to bring him to Norman. You get what I'm getting at. But back in the day, I say back in the day like it was so long ago, but and even still to this point, the SEC has the largest television contract in D1 ball, hands down, period, point blank. They got their own network, plus they got a contract with CBS, so most of their games are either played on CBS, SEC network, and then the rest of them are all on the ESPN family of networks. Seriously, like you can't turn on the TV and not see an SEC game on Saturday. Then you got Big 10, Big 12, ACC, Pac-12. As far as the Power 5, those guys have all the TV exposure.
Yep.
That's where it's easiest for people to get, and you understand, and you know how the media works as well as I do. When the media gets behind somebody and they start hyping you, other people start putting eyes on you. Case in point, DJ Ukulele and Spencer Rattler both being Heisman candidate favorites before the season even started, before down was even played, and everybody jumped all over that. And now we see how that's worked out for both of them. Ukulele is now no longer the starting quarterback, and Rattler may not be playing. But meanwhile, you got this kid, you got Tavarius Johnson, who's playing down at North Carolina A&T, who's the same height and same build and has the same skill set as a Spencer Rattler, as a DJ Ukulele, who's getting 0 looks because
of the media.
Right.
Unfortunately, that's and I've seen a few of his clips on YouTube, and in my personal opinion, I think he's just as better as Spencer.
Guaranteed.
I do. I like. It's all about the eye test, and I've always said shout out to the regular Ravens fan. Perception creates reality, and trust your eyes. I've always said the media.
I love that catchphrase. That's my favorite catchphrase of yours. Trust your eyes. I have co-opted that. If you don't mind, if I gotta send you royalty check, let me know.
No, you're fine. Russell was saying, to add to your point, it's really all about the exposure for student athletes, especially on the D1 level. I have seen this in my experience as a student assistant coach on the D2 level. There, yes, he actually should. Russell needs to actually be a head coach, because my man definitely knows his football.
Like Russell, like to Russell's point, here's a perfect example. You've talked about it. I've talked about it. Oh my God, what's the boy's name that played at South Carolina? That he made that one huge hit, totally almost decapitated old boy.
Jadeveon Clowney.
Yeah, Jadeveon Clowney. He made that one huge hit and knocked that boy's helmet off, and he went high first round draft pick, and he's not doing bad, but
he's not what we thought he would be.
He didn't come into the league as a world beater.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? All that exposure from that one hit, and then at that point, I think ESPN still has the top 10 plays of the week, and then will this one remain a top 10 player, or will something else take the place? Like, I saw that thing on an endless loop, and when I saw it, I went,
I
"Ooh!"
remember it.
That's exactly it. That's his point. If you can get one or two big plays, or if you can put together maybe 3 or 4 good plays over a 12-game season that get all the exposure in the world, everybody's looking at you going, "Hey, that guy's good." That, because you see what that guy did, that guy can do this. Boom, boom, boom. And then they get drafted and they come in the league and you
But I've
know.
also, but to your point, in my opinion, I've also seen this with basketball as
Mm-hmm.
well because, for example, Zion Williamson,
I knew you were gonna say that.
he great freak of an athlete, but now we're now, I think it's now year 2, year 3, and I thought with injuries and things like that, maybe I'm like, well, maybe where did we overhype him a little bit? So I think the media can also be deceptive as well, because the media can say, well, he's a great power dunker, but when you really see it for yourself, when you get to the pros, it's like, well, where was this when he was in college, when he or she was in college, respectively? So,
I mean, I've seen a lot of guys go in as, I hate to use this guy as an example, not because I hate him. I do respect him. I respect his hustle. I respect his drive. It's just because of what his teams have done to my teams over the years. But Tom Brady, you know what I mean? Tom Brady got enough looks to get drafted.
hold that thought.
Relationship with your
Oh
children.
my God.
Look, man, we ain't gonna talk about last night. I'm still reeling from Sunday. Okay? We got beat up on Sunday. And then if y'all haven't watched football at all, my Falcons got the hell beat out of them on Sunday. And then I had to come on and wear a Dallas Cowboys jersey, talk about how great the Cowboys were, and then turn around and Thursday, last night, they got blanked by the Patriots. And not only did they get blanked by the Patriots, Matt Ryan got benched, and Felipe Franks. I wondered where Felipe Franks went. I knew he was in, because he was in Florida. He was in Florida. No, he was in Tennessee, and then he transferred to Florida on the transfer portal. The transfer to Florida, and he was at best in Florida, and Atlanta drafted him. They put him in. He turned around and threw a pick 6.
How do you do that? How do you do that? What the hell is going on?
Okay, first of all, Stephen A. Smith, I'm gonna need you to calm down. You got way too much anger and testosterone for somebody whose mustache. You still got a mustache starter kit. Number 2, you need to fire your barber, because I'm just saying. I gave up the ghost a long time ago. Okay, you were well on your way to having yourself a full George Jefferson. So you just need to sit down and take some of that bass out of your voice and speak with a little more respect. It should be something like, well, I'm not exactly sure I understand exactly what happened. If somebody could sit down, a Venn diagram or a chart or a spreadsheet, it'd be great, because I'm just not following. I'm just saying, I don't mean to be disrespectful to nobody here, because I got all respect. But yeah, not coming in there talking about how you do that. Sit down somewhere. I seen your boxing video. You better not get in the ring with Jake Paul. You wind up getting just Nate Robinson's. Get the Sonic rings knocked up out of you, boy. Sit down somewhere, all that loud talking. That's what black people do, man. Give them a couple dollars and they think they give them a couple dollars and think they super fly. Where's my pot of my hand, please? Sit down. Anyway, my Falcons got their butt kicked. So,
and we're going to get into that in a bit.
We'll keep that. But my point is that Brady was a guy that, as the Patriots took a chance on him, and they didn't even think they were going to keep him on the practice squad. Well, obviously, and now he will go down in history as the greatest quarterback to lace him up in our time. I know how you feel about that. I know, because I'm gonna be honest.
That was Drew Bledsoe's team. I'm never letting that go. I'm not. If Drew Bledsoe doesn't get hurt, if Drew Bledsoe didn't get hurt, they still win the championship that year.
Guaranteed.
I'm gonna back it up. If Drew Bledsoe didn't get hurt when he was in Dallas, he'd still be in. He would have retired from Dallas because remember he got hurt and Tony Romo took over. Then he got shuffled off the Foxborough. So if he didn't get hurt when he was in Dallas, we might not ever have had the Tom Brady story.
Yeah, that's true. That's definitely true. I
Who knows?
I know after he got traded, he played for the Buffalo Bills, and Bills weren't that. I mean, the only 1 year, I think it was his first year. I think that was it. But shout out to Drew Bledsoe. I want to transition. My question before we get into the sports part is what drives you? What gives you the motivation? Because I know you're on Sean, shout out to Sean Spencer, Janae Struthers, Let's Talk Football show. You gave a very, very heartfelt testimony. But what gives you the drive every day as Anthony Handy to be as a black man, as to be a good person today, tomorrow, and going forward? What gives you the drive?
Several things. The last thing in the world, I always knew I wanted kids. I did that. The last thing that I could have thought of was that I was going to have not one but four. Mm-hmm. And every day I try. I don't always succeed, but every day I try to live my life in a manner so that my children will see that I am living the philosophy that I'm trying to instill in them. Like, I might not have always been the absolute best dad, but there's never not been a time when my children have seen me not work to get what I want. I may not have been the absolute best dad, but my children saw me at 50 years old go back to school. You understand what I'm saying? I'm working on a master's now. I may not have been the best dad in the world, but they see how I love and treat my wife with love, dignity, and respect, and how I treat other people with love, dignity, and respect, and how when somebody really, really genuinely needs me, they can pick up the phone and they can call me. So my kids, first and foremost, above all else, for my wife, because I gave the testimony about my wife on Let's Talk Football. For my wife also, I know the situation that I came from when I met my wife. I know the situation my wife came from when she met me. I want to be the best man.
What's good, bro?
I want to be the best man that I can possibly be for my wife, because I don't want to be just another dude. I don't want to be like, oh, you just like everybody else. I want to be the one, like Barry White said, the first, the last, of everything. Yep. That's what I want to be for her. You know what I mean? And then for myself, because I know we all talk about how we were descended from slaves or XYZ. I know exactly where my grandfather, 7 generations back, got off the boat. I know where he got off the boat. He got off the boat on a small island about an hour and a half south of Savannah, Georgia, called Sapelo Island. It's about 15, 20 minutes north of the Georgia-Florida border. My great grandfather, Bilali Muhammad, was the first of my family in America on my father's side. After the abolition of slavery and the Emancipation Proclamation, when the slaves were freed, they were given that land. That is where my grandfather, my paternal grandfather, and his wife left the island, came to the Savannah mainland, and raised my father, my uncle, and my 2 aunts. So I know where I come from. I owe that to my, and we, depending on what you believe, we die, we go to the afterlife, whatever it is. I think that whether there is a heaven and a hell or whether there's not, matter cannot be created, nor can it be destroyed. Energy cannot be created, nor can it be destroyed. So when you pass away, that essence goes somewhere. I owe that to my ancestors. I owe that to my mother's ancestors. My great grandfather was a sharecropper up in North Georgia, about an hour and some change south of Atlanta. I owe that to them to try and be the very best that I absolutely possibly can. And I don't talk about that a lot because that's my thing. That's my story. That's as Gary on the Ricky Smiley said, that's my tea. But I owe that to them. There's no reason why, my grandparents who grew up during Jim Crow and my parents who came up during the worst part of the civil rights movement and sit-ins and protests, and the great grandparents who, during the dawning of certain organizations whose name we won't give any credit to here on this show, when they dealt with things like that, there is no way that after all of that stuff that they went through and all of they fought through to raise their children to become productive members of society, that I, who had it really, really easy. I grew up in the suburbs, man. I went to a private school for elementary through middle school. I went to a private school. I grew up in the suburbs. I was my family was one of 2 black families on the whole doggone street. Most of the kids I ran around up and down the street with were Caucasian kids. My high school was about, I want to say about 65, 70% white. I went off to school. I had a scholarship to go off to a very large, very prominent state university. I had it good. There's no reason why I shouldn't give my 100%. Huh?
You're right.
I have to. That's the thing that drives me. That and I also have this thing for, I talked about writing music. I have this thing for when I have, it is a very fascinating thing when you come up with a concept and then you start to work the concept, and then you breathe life into that concept and you see that concept begin to grow. 12 years ago, I talked about a podcast. That was all we really wanted to do, was do podcasts and have fun. And it was an excuse to get together and drink and talk about a bunch of stuff on Sunday for 3 hours. But from that has grown into and evolved to other side projects, which I'm sure you want to ask me about. So we'll save the rest of that for later. But that's what drives me, man. Every single day. I hate getting out of my bed at 5 something in the morning, but I get up every day because I got a job to go to. And then sometimes I get off work and I'm like, I don't feel like doing this show. And it's normally the days when I really don't feel like coming on is when when we have those killer shows. Like when I came on your show last week, like when I went on with Janae and Sean on Monday. You know what I mean? Like when I'm feeling really good, I'll still have a good show, but that's when I have the ones that I like, okay, I need this clip and I need this clip and I need this clip. And that's the thing that drives me.
I respect that. So I want to transition really quick because you said podcasting. We know you obviously do a show for college football, but you and Dave also did NFL at one for a little bit, because I remember how I met you guys was how Sean. I met you guys through the conversation of doing the
NFL preseason picks. Mm-hmm.
And ladies and gentlemen, if I could find that video, not that video, but where Mr. Anthony
do I need to be afraid of what you get ready to put on the screen right now? Because you keep receipts.
This man really had to come on the show and wear a Dallas Cowboy shirt.
Oh, okay. That's last week. Okay, that's good. I thought you were going all the way back to the preseason show. I was gonna say, oh Jesus.
This shout out to Sean Spencer, shout out to Janae Strother. This is sacrilegious. This is almost like getting NWO sprayed on your back.
The Dallas Cowboys. That's what I gotta say today. So, having said that, as I draw to a pitiful close today, we will go ahead and tell you to touch your neighbor as we take up a GoFundMe for the Falcons fans, for the hopes and dreams that were crushed. We try to be a pillar in the community and do things to uplift our brother, man. We sending everything to the 404, so just go ahead and dig deep in your pocket.
Jesus.
We, as a matter of fact, we here at the First Ebenezer Holiness Pentecostal by the side of the road, right next to Jerry World.
Come on.
Holiness Baptist Ebenezer Church. Did I say Mount Zion? We here are going to go ahead and donate 1/10 of the building fund to uplift our brothers and sisters in the 404 area code right now that might not be feeling so well about the way they got beat up. Also, there's a hotline that's been opened up called 1-800 They Beat Me Up. Call 1-800 They Beat Me Up.
Getting it done.
Listen, I wait a minute now. Excuse me for a minute. I forgot the preacher can't preach without the robe on, so let me go ahead and do what I gotta do.
There you go.
Ladies and gentlemen, you witness.
I'm a man of my word.
That's what they came for.
I'm a man of my word.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh,
That is so sacrilegious.
Goodness gracious.
it feels good. It
You
looks
say that, but that's the most viewed video on my page right now.
That's really like getting like you back in the day with the NWO where they would jump, Goldberg or them, they'd spray, and that's what it's like, or spraying interview on the world championship. That's what it's like.
Hey, look, I told you, I'm a man of my word, and to be completely honest, my wife is a huge Cowboys fan, and
relationship with your
Oh
children.
my God.
but my wife didn't even follow college football when she met me. She now watches Georgia games with me. You understand? My wife knew I was a Falcons fan. She sits down and roots for. She gets mad when the Falcons don't score a touchdown because I do the Deion Sanders Dirty Bird dance when they score a touchdown. You dig what I'm saying? Matter of fact, oh my God, how do you play? Can we please pull up the thing on the side right there? Pull the thing up on the side over there with the Falcons on it. We're gonna talk about that right now.
Well, I do want to get into that, but the reason why I played that clip, ladies and gentlemen, because the Dallas Cowboys. Okay, I just want to say this for the record. I don't hate the Cowboys as a team. I guess this is not a slight against Janae. I can't stand Cowboy fans because when they win, they're all like it's all about how about them Cowboys? How about them Cowboys? Look at their schedule and tell me and give me a real team that they have beaten this year. Like last year, they could have beaten anybody, but I heard nothing but excuses. Oh, Mike, no, listen, let me get off that. Let me get off that because I'm gonna go around. They lost last week to the Cowboys, and then last night the Dirty Birds got blanketed by the New England Patriots.
I'm not going to even sit here and act like I didn't know this was coming. Or act like I know this was coming because I did it.
Bullshit.
Yeah, Stephen A. Like you didn't know I was gonna roast you on that. Why you do that? Why you do that? Why you not speaking English? Why you not speaking English correctly? Stop it, Stephen A. Smith. All in demonstrative. Like Stephen A. Smith kind of reminds me of one of them people that gets loud. It don't matter if it's a male or the female in a relationship that get loud and demonstrative when you just try to have a conversation with them. Like, babe, you hanging out with the boys all this week. Can you stay home? Why you got to be all up in my face? Yeah, no. Stephen A. Smith, stop it. We see you. Anyway, coming back. I don't know. All I want to know is, okay, do you remember a few years back, many moons back, about 10, 11 years ago, Atlanta basically all but ran the table. I think their record was 13-3. They totally, by a landslide, won the NFC South. They had
we're
gonna get that in a little bit. Thank you. You beat me to it. I'm jumping on the questions like it's my show. They went 13-3. They White House with the NFC South. Yep. They had a first round bye. No, they didn't have a first round bye. Did they have a first round bye?
Look.
I don't remember. At any rate, long and short, don't go to all that trouble. At any rate, they wound up getting beaten by a Giants team. This was 2000. Now I know when it was. It was 2000.
I'm looking.
Well, my wife and I were together at that point. Not 2007.
2007, 2008.
they got beaten by a New York Giants team who backed their way into the playoffs. No, it was more around somewhere between, it was had to have been 10 or 11. But anyway, they lost to the New York Giants who had backed their way in. And then, you know what the Falcons did? They turned around and backed up the Brinks truck. Boop, 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 and made Matt Ryan, but that was also the year Matt Ryan won the MVP. They made Matt Ryan the highest paid quarterback in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
You lost in the first round of the playoffs. You ain't getting no money like that.
Oh, yes, right here. 2011. The final score was 24-2 Giants.
Right. You mean you could beat up everybody all season long, but when it really matters and the rubber meets the road, you can't show up and make it happen? And I'm supposed to give you a whole truck full of money? And you know what happens when you give a guy a max deal in the NFL when you got a salary cap? That means you got to rework other people's deals, and folks want to get traded because they're like, okay, you know, my contract is up. Can I get a couple extra dollars? But no, they gave it all to Matty Ice. And I'm not taking anything away from Matty Ice. The man, when he's on, he's all the way on. But he is the Bo Nix of the NFL. I love you, Matt Ryan. I hope he doesn't see this. But Matt Ryan, I will go down in history is in the top 2 of quarterbacks for the Atlanta Falcon franchise. Hands down, period. Top 2 quarterbacks in the NFL. Well, he'll actually probably be the top, just statistically wise, at the top quarterback in the franchise history of the Atlanta Falcons. And the man has a history of getting into pressure situations and turning the ball over. And if you don't believe me, go back and look at that Super Bowl and ask yourself and look at the number of plays they were running. The first half, they ran the hell out of the ball. They threw it only just to break some things up, keep the defense on their heels. They didn't put the ball in Matty Ryan's hands until they had the game well in hand. And then they said, okay, go win your championship. And what does he proceed to do? Sit up in there and poop the bed. Now, I'm not mad. This is just me being demonstrative for rating's sake, but stay with me. He proceeds to poop the bed. And then when it gets out of hand and they say, well, we're going to go back to the running attack. Oh, no.
We'll get into that a little bit, Lee.
Oh, no. Belichick that got you figured out from the first half, because if it's 2 people that can figure out what you're doing from first half to second half, it is old Bill Belichick and old Nick Saban. The 2 of them can pick you apart like that. And now you stuck. Now you're tied. Now it's 0-0. You know how coaches like to say, he's got a new game. It's 0-0. The first one to score wins. And you guys and go team. And they went right out there and they let I started to say Tampa Bay. Tampa Tom, I can call him Tampa Tom. They let Tampa Tom march down the field, and James White scores the game-winning touchdown in overtime. So the embarrassment of blowing a 28-3 lead, which it was not lost on me that they spotlighted the fact that the score was 28-3 in the Dallas game. You give up a 28-3 lead.
Let me play this clip for you. I think this might make you feel better.
So when are we gonna say something about it? You know what? I'm gonna walk away. I'll be right back because I'm scared I'm gonna say something that might get me in trouble. Because I'm pissed. I'm pissed.
And I'm still pissed at your hairline. It's disrespectful. I got a 12-year-old cousin cut hair. All that money you make, you can't find you somebody to hook you up. You know you could get, Nate, do you know that you can get glue on? You know how women can get the glue in tracks or whatever?
Man weave.
You can go get a man weave. You can go get a man weave. You could go from Kevin Hart to Bobby McFerrin, boom, because you know Bobby got the dreads. I watched the video with the dude with the glue and the foul, and the brother came in bald. A brother came in all bald, and they shaved the top of his head, and they put the thing on. And he had the dreads on, and boom, bow. You make a lot of money. Go fix your hairline. So when are we gonna say something about it? Why do you do that? Seriously, man, look, The man hairline is sitting back in the middle of his head. Him and LeBron could get together and swap hair, and both they could share a full head. One of them, it'd be like, "Oh, it's my turn to have the hair tonight, man." Nah, man. LeBron would be like, "Nah, man. Date night with the missus. I got it tonight. You get it tomorrow." Like, cool. They could swap up between the two of them. Boom, bow. They could be hooked up. And then that mustache. Remember back in the day when auntie, when she go through her change, they called it, "Oh, your auntie going through the change." And she'd have gone through the change. Now she on the other side of 50 now, and she get the little fuzz on the upper lip. So, but that was cool back then. So she get the little mustache pencil and line it on there. Why Stephen A. Smith got the 58-year-old woman from the 1970s mustache going on? Like Eddie Murphy say, Aunt Bonnie got a mustache. Why you got an Aunt Bonnie mustache, Stephen A. Smith? Anyway. I'm sorry. Atlanta got their behinds handed to them, and time again, they keep turning around and giving Matt Ryan all this money. It's time for Matt Ryan to ride off peacefully into the sunset with Stephen A. Smith's hairline and just go to somewhere on a sunny pasture. Because Atlanta fans are tired, man. People paid you know how I don't even know how much the city paid. Oh, look. What I'm not gonna do is talk about LeBron. Wait a minute. What I just did was talk about LeBron. So you can't tell me I can't talk about it if I already talked about it. Don't get it twisted. I got nothing but love for LeBron. But I'm just calling my brother out, brother to brother. Y'all ladies and sisters, y'all don't let each other go out looking all kind of way. I'm surprised somebody pulled him to the side and go, "Hey, bro, come on, man. I got a barber." Wait a minute, hold on. LeBron got a whole TV show called Barbershop. You got so much money, you made your own barbershop and still can't get a decent fade. Come on, Bron. I love you though, man. I ain't hating on LeBron. I'm just saying. Because see, I knew a long time ago I was dumb enough to go to Kuwait with an S curl in my hair. I was dumb enough to go to Kuwait with an S curl in my hair and think that I was going to be able to maintain it. And when my hair started to fall out, I said, well, I just need to, and one of them pillars was holding up the hairline and it fell over. You gonna keep feeding me ammunitionally. Come on with it now. And I said, well, I'm just gonna go ahead and shave all mine off. I done been bald for 27 years because I was like, well, it ain't gonna grow back. And during COVID, if I thought, you know how sometimes you think, well, if you let it sit long enough, the problem will go away. So during COVID, I started letting my hair grow out. I was like, oh, snap, okay. It might be all right. Then I got that mirror, and then it was wah. Nope, I shaved it back off. I ain't playing. I'm just saying. But hey, if he could. Hey, I'm gonna leave that alone. Atlanta. We were talking about Atlanta.
She said she called LeBron now.
Oh, you gonna call LeBron? Have him come on here. We'll talk. We can chop it up. Me and LeBron to get along just fine. Me and him will be boys. We'll be dapping up. He'd be like, hey man. He'd be like, hey man, we coming to OKC. Look, don't be mad when me and him get on and we start talking and we start chopping it up. Then watch me be on Twitter with LeBron at the VIP after the game over down in the Paycom Arena right down the street at OKC where I'm at like this. Don't they look? Atlanta, the Falcons are a horrible. I think we broke Nate. The Falcons, the Falcons are one of the there have been a lot of teams that have been great that have just fallen off. Oh, Nate, where you go, man? Nate had to disappear like boop, experiencing technical difficulties, and we're back. Like Tampa Bay, your boy, the unemployed coach, the coach that is now unemployed out in Las Vegas. He took that team, made him a Super Bowl.
Oh, John Gruden, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I wasn't gonna call his name.
I know who you meant.
I don't dislike him. I just wasn't gonna call his name. But he took the Tampa Bay team, took him to a Super Bowl, made a Big Worm for Friday twin brother Warren Sapp a football star.
Oh wow!
I said it with my whole chest. I said it. Hey, you got my money, Smokey. You better quit playing. Money is like playing my money is like playing with my emotions. There's principalities involved in this. Tell me, Faison Love and Warren Sapp don't favor each other. Now call you a liar. Smokey, that's $100. Quit playing with me. Anyway, So anyway, I'm gonna stop talking. The Atlanta Falcons at one time were the absolute cream of the crop in the NFC. They were an elite team in the NFC, and between incompetent ownership and the dome that we just built 20 years ago is no longer fit for Atlanta to play in, so we're going to charge the tax. We're going to make a deal with the city. The taxpayers are going to have to wield to build a whole brand new stadium for our team, and we're not going to do a thing for our team. We're not going to do a thing for our team to build the team or make the team any better. We're just going to keep doing what we're doing, and we're going to stay the course. And eventually we will get there. Listen, whoever said stay the course and eventually you will get there, that's somebody that was on a 2-lane road that headed either directly north and south or directly east and west. And in that particular case, yes, if you're going from point A to point B, if you stay where you're going to get there. But we talking about a football team with 53 guys that's all either millionaires or close to being millionaires. Some of them is half a millionaires. But and you can't just keep doing the same thing over and over. What is the definition of insanity? Doing the same damn thing over and over again and expecting a different result. How you gonna get 53 guys that cannot score no more than 3 points between 8 quarters of football in the span of 5 days? And you know about 8, don't you, Nathan? You know what 8 is. Them quarters came consecutively, one after the other. First quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter. Then they took a 4-day break. All right, we're going to take a rest and drink some Gatorade, and we're going to get back on it. And then they came back on Thursday night. First quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter. 3 whole points. You mean to tell me you have a multi-million-dollar payroll and nobody knows how to get a ball over a little white line so the man in a zebra shirt can do this? That's it. That's all you got to do. That's your job.
Let me ask you this question. Do you think that we need to, because I have been a big proponent, and Russell Goodacre could back me up on this. I am a proponent that quarterbacks should not get paid a certain amount of money because you sacrifice one half of the ball. And then on number 2, some of the scouting, like no disrespect, okay? But when I look at the Falcons, your roster as a Falcon fan, for you're a Falcon fan. When I look at the team, like other than Calvin Ridley, Kyle Pitts, and Cordero Patterson, and maybe AJ Terrell, and maybe Dante Fowler.
Mm-hmm. You pulling out a whole lot of maybes. And you know what happened when black people say maybe? That mean no. So
y'all don't really have a squad.
No, we don't. Because they front loaded Matt Ryan's contract, and a bunch of it was guaranteed. It was $100 and some odd million. I forgot how much it was, and I went, ooh, they give him that much for losing? How much he got if he would have won?
You know what's funny, really quick though? Everyone said that Matt Ryan was going to win a championship before Joe Flacco. And
the devil is a lie. I know they didn't say that because I knew better than that.
And I was like, really? Okay.
Joe Flacco is now known as one of the most washed up veterans in the league, but he got a ring though.
QB's offensive line pass rusher should be the most paid guys on the NFL roster. I think QB should be. I think a quarterback should get paid no more than $100 million. That should be a cap. I think there needs to be a cap on each position.
I think that cap needs to be
Russell Wilson's the GOAT. I agree with you.
I think that cap needs to be set a little bit lower because, let's be honest, what the hell are you gonna do? Okay, I'm not saying.
Oh, here's your girl.
What up, Lucinda? I'm not saying that these guys should not get paid. They sacrifice their bodies week in and week out. Okay,
I agree.
But some of these guys get contracts, and I'm not jealous of the money that they make because
took what they gave him until he proved them different in 2014. I agree with that.
Facts. F-A-C-T-S. Facts. Noun. Plural. A statement or set of statements that in no way can be disproven. Facts. That was my spelling bee for you right there. Huh, man? Anyway, keeping this thing moving along. Like quarterbacks, seriously, they should. You get a contract. I know that for a lot of guys that the moment is short lived because you're always as Alex Smith has shown, you're always one injury. Joe Theismann, you're always one injury away from never ever playing the game again. So yes, they should make that money, but they should make money. But why that much? Why so much money that when you need these other? I mean, I see so many teams, and it's year in and year out now. I see so many teams with a guy that's got a max deal, and they've got such a maxed out deal that they have no wiggle room on the salary cap. Even if
I love the New Orleans Saints.
Right, they got no room on the salary cap to do anything to address the issues that they have on the squad, other than let's try and pick up someone in free agency. And you know, when the free agency stuff starts, it's just like when you put out stuff for a buffet. The best stuff gets eaten up first.
Yep.
And then you around here trying to eat beans and franks. But that's all they left me was the pork and beans. Why you eating pork and beans? It was a whole bunch of stuff over. That's all everybody left me. Everybody ate all the ribs and everything. Tell me I'm lying.
No, you're not. Speaking facts.
So, again, Atlanta. I think the fan base is. I think the fan base has just grown tired of the same thing over and over and over again. You have a guy who could potentially be a Hall of Fame wide receiver in Julio Jones, and you have burned up his best years. You took him to the Super Bowl and didn't even throw him try and throw him. You had Roddy White, who also could have been a Hall of Fame wide receiver. You burned him up. Tony Gonzalez still had plenty left in the tank when he came to Atlanta. After a couple of years, and he said, "Oh, these guys on some BS." He dipped out.
Yep.
Now you got Calvin.
Calvin, go ahead.
And then you had Calvin Ridley coming, and Calvin Ridley went. Now, I don't know what's going on with Calvin, and I'm not trying to dog him, okay? But you and I have had this discussion. You know, there is the possibility that he was just like, nah, this ain't it. You get what I'm saying? So Atlanta has gotten to the point where it was a franchise where folks didn't mind coming and playing. They were excited about coming and playing. To now they're like, oh man, I got drafted by the Falcons.
If I'm Lamar, I'm asking for at least $45 million ahead of his contract extension for what he's done, but it kill a year. Wow, you're really asking. That's really kind of. Oh, I can't. I don't see that.
Hey, hang on a second. Hold on. I think somebody. Russell, you asked for a kidney too, didn't you? I got one down here.
Oh, goodness.
You asking for a whole lot.
45 million. Lamar should. Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting.
45 million a year. You know, look. You know how many players on that squad would revolt if they gave Lamar 45 million a year, and you know how much that fan base would fall all over themselves in histrionics, especially if for some reason, God forbid, the Ravens don't make it to the playoffs this year, or they get to the playoffs and don't advance.
And again, that kind of goes back to my point.
Pitchforks and torches outside M&T Stadium.
M&T Bank, yeah.
M&T Bank. Yeah, that's what I said. Don't be correcting me. I know what I had said when I meant it.
No, but it proves my point why we shouldn't give quarterbacks. There needs to be a cap on certain positions. Because look at the Kansas City Chiefs that Lee brought up earlier. People are saying the Kansas City Chiefs are going to be. What are your thoughts? You may have already covered this, but I'm just coming in. I'm not sold on their defense, Lee. The Kansas City defense is god awful. It's disgusting this year. The only really friendly face on that defense is the Honey Badger himself. We know they're not the same team since the Super Bowl.
No.
And once again, look, they gave Patrick Mahomes $500 million.
I'm not going to even sit here and act like I didn't know this was coming. Or act like I know this was coming because I did it.
That's what they gave him.
Go ahead.
And the Chiefs are kind of starting. They're going to start realizing in about another year or two that maybe giving a guy like that kind of money isn't going to work. By the way, I'm rooting for the Tennessee Titans. Oh my goodness. Well,
listen,
they're still going to.
I'm gonna tell you who the real MVP is. It ain't Pat Mahomes. It's his agent, bruh. Bravo, because because whatever his cut was, he made a nice little chunk of money. But
Hey, do you know how much the owners make? The players are the ones killing themselves for the game they deserve to pay.
I
Now,
agree with you 100.
I agree with you totally. No cap. No, they killing themselves to play this game so the owners can get richer. No, you're right. Good point.
You're true. No, she raises a very, very, very valid point.
Yeah.
But the only way that we can speak to it right now, Lucinda, is under the structure, under the system as it is set up right now. Like if it was a deal where they said, well, the owners would just get a $10 million a year cut, and all of the rest of that money, the revenue and everything else, will be spread out into other things, like paying for your own damn stadium and stuff like that, and payroll increases for your staff and payroll increases for your players. That's where that money should. Because if I own a football franchise and I'm happy making $10 million a year. I don't have to be a billionaire. If I'm making $10 million a year and I invested right, I'll have myself a nice little something over here. And when I close my eyes and leave here, my children will never have to work if they decide not to. Although they're going to have to work. And I'm going to tell you why, because I put them in a trust fund and they only get X number of dollars a year out of it. But what that does is that sets that up so they don't blow through it. So when they have children, their children inherit it. Generational wealth. Boom. You just got to, boom. We talking sports and silliness and social consciousness at the same time. Yes, they do know that going in. But at the same time, if you're 14, 15 years old, I think that was Lee that said that, right?
Yes.
You're a 14-year-old boy. You can run, jump, catch like nobody else. You're the fastest kid. You're the biggest kid. You're the strongest kid. You can do things nobody else can do on the gridiron. You got a guy come from a school like a Alabama, like a Nick Saban, come and tell you, you can be a great player from me, and maybe we can get you in the NFL. You're not thinking about anything except how you going to get to that money. That's it. At 14, because a lot of these kids that are playing now, a lot of these young kids that are playing now have been courted since they were 13 or 14 years old. So from the time they were in high school, somebody was telling them, you're going to get here and you're going to make this money. And then they get there, and it's more money than most of them. It's more money than if they got both parents at home. It's more money than both their parents made working their 9 to 5s from before they were born up until the time they got signed. And that's, and plus that they're thinking, I could take care of my mom. I could take care of my parents. I could take care of blah, blah, blah. I could, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So they get blinded by that money because if you don't have no money, like Eddie Murphy said on Raw a long time ago, 1987, he said, if you starving and somebody throw you a cracker, that's going to be the best cracker you ever ate. They be like, that was no regular cracker, was it? That was no regular cracker. That was a risk. Can I please and one more, please and one more? If you broke and somebody tells you you can make $3.6 million a year and all you got to do is come and play football, $3.6 million is a whole lot of nothing. Like Cat Williams said, I can't pay 10% of nothing, Jesus. It's the same thing. And these kids I can't keep him in the box. He totally took over my video last night. Somebody get that baby some milk. But if you broke and somebody says, here's all this money, that's what you're going to get. I admire guys like Alfred Morris. Remember Alfred Morris? And he came in the league and his teammates teased him because he was still driving his 1991 Miata and riding his bike back and forth to practice. How many guys that was drafted with him that weren't superstars are still in the league?
Not that many.
Right? I think Alfred's still in the league right now. He's still playing somewhere. He was smart. He's like, ain't no reason for me to blow through all that money because I get hurt tomorrow.
He's a free agent at the moment.
Okay. But I thought I recently saw he was playing with somebody. But the point is
the Giants last year.
Right. My point is you might be making, like, case in point, Odell Beckham Jr. Odell Beckham Jr. made one catch. I'm about to have what I'm going to call an unpopular Eddie moment from Barbershop. Remember when he gave that speech about Rosa Parks and Martin Luther King? I'm about to give an unpopular opinion right now. OBJ is not all he cracked up to be. OBJ, just like the Javen Clowney, made one big play. One. Now he's skilled. of course, he's better than I am because Lord knows if I could do that, right now, I'd be somewhere and be like, look, I know I'm 51, but please, can I please play? I'd be like Rocky and Rocky Balboa. There's something great like standing in front of you and saying that I am, I got stuff in the basement, Paulie. Anyway, he's not that great a player. He made one great catch. They gave him a whole bunch of money and an extension on his contract on that one great catch. And again, the media jumped all over it. That's all you saw. They made commercials like the wedding reception where the one girl did where she OBJ'd the bouquet and all of that stuff. Like that it was a social media phenomenon. And now we see that OBJ is who we really thought that he was.
Yeah. No, that's facts. I agree with you. That's why I thought.
You get what I'm saying? Yes,
that's why I thought it was a little excessive.
Yeah.
To add to that, why it didn't make sense why his dad made that 12-minute video saying, "Well, Baker's not passing the ball." That's more than Baker. Why don't you call Kevin Stefanski? Why don't you call it the offensive coordinator?
Why don't you call your own son out? Why don't you tell your son to dye all this? Matter of fact, tell your son to cut the colored part of his hair off, and then send half of it to LeBron and the other half to Stephen A. Smith. Matter of fact, that'll be enough hair. Stephen A. Smith could get him a new hairline and a new mustache. Watch out now. He can have some sideburns, looking like Clarence Williams III in the Mod Squad. Did I say something wrong? My bad. What did I say something? I'm sorry, Lee. I tried to stay off your boy LeBron. But the devil made me do it.
Let us transition.
Nate, like I gotta get off this, man. He gonna keep clowning Steve A. Smith. Week 11 picks. Wait a minute. I thought that was supposed to be college football picks.
No, this is week 11 of the NFL.
Oh, okay.
Sticking on the topic of finances in sports, they need to teach financial literacy to all high school students so they understand money once they are adults. Most players go bankrupt in retirement. Amen, Russell.
Hashtag facts. Clinton Portis, we love you. Get your stuff together, bro.
That was really sad to know that you guys like him, other former NFL players scamming the system off for money. Mm-hmm. That's where they base salaries nowadays. Social media clicks, likes, and streaming. You can suck, but the fans love you. You'll be paid handsomely.
Yeah, I mean, if you know how to market that. I remember when Clinton Portis was on the Junkies, and he talked about, they were like, so what are some of the things that when you splurged, what did you do to treat yourself? And he said, Cakes chimed in and
we'll
said,
get into that in a bit, Lee.
Cam and Cakes jumped in and said, yeah, we heard you had a stripper pole. And he was like, Clint got real quiet. And he's like, Dan ain't gonna like that if I talk about that on the radio. Like, okay, wait a minute, but you all that money you got, and you got a stripper pole in your house.
Makes no sense.
These guys
don't make sense.
Nope, not at all. I thought you said McDowell's. I was getting ready to say we got the McFlurby. We put the fruit on the bottom instead on the top. Go ahead.
Oh my goodness.
Week 11 picks. That's where we are. You all right, Nate?
So
welcome to the Big Nate podcast. I'm Anthony. I'm trying not to take the show over, but I've just been killing Nate tonight.
Just for those that are watching, if you have any questions for Anthony, please feel free to leave your comments in the chat. So you guys started off week 11 of the season. We got the next game. We got the Bears versus Baltimore. Who do you got?
Nick and Delilah, I'm sorry. I'm going with Baltimore.
Okay.
The Bears defense, I mean, I haven't watched enough of the Bears play just because I don't have the big fancy NFL ticket, so I only get to see what games are played here on a local basis, which means I watch a ton of Dallas games and I watch Cleveland's games. But Anthony, you live in Oklahoma. Yes, but who's the starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns? And what school did he graduate from? Thank you very much. I'll be here all evening. So, but from what I understand, from what I understand, the Bears defense is very, they're like the difference between Almond Joy and Mounds. Sometimes you feel like a nut, sometimes you don't. I don't see that defense being able to be up to that task because
Listen to say get red zone on Xfinity.
I don't have Xfinity. Listen, out here, I'm in Oklahoma City, the capital of the Sooner State. There are two choices for cable out here. Cable and internet. There is Cox Cable and there is AT&T Uverse, and that's it. So for those of y'all, I didn't realize how spoiled I was living in the DMV because I could throw a rock. I could be at the 7-Eleven, be like, "What cable company you work for? Y'all do service over here? Yeah, you got to come get these fools, man, because Comcast playing on me. They're tripping on me. And then if I don't like them, and then dude, my wife and I rotated cable company so much to get a better deal, it was unreal. Anyway, I'm going with Baltimore.
Okay. Green Bay versus Minnesota.
Green Bay.
Okay. Indy versus Buffalo.
Buffalo.
Okay. The Cleveland Browns are going to demolish the Detroit Lions.
Guaranteed.
I thought you said the Lions were going to beat the Browns the other night.
No, that's no. We're talking about the Jets and the Dolphins.
Oh, I'm talking about on it was a panel show. I think you were on as a guest, weren't you?
Oh,
hey,
no, Russell, appreciate you
Exactly.
joining, bro. Have a good weekend. Thank you. Keep doing what you do, bro. Proud of you. No, that was with Sean. That was with the Steelers and the Lions.
Got you.
They got their first tie, but they're playing in the Cleveland Browns, and the Browns look a lot better since Odell's left.
Oh,
and Jared Goff is not playing. So.
Oh yeah, okay. Well, I'm changing my answer. Change that. I'm gonna change my answer to what he said, teacher. Yeah, we go with the Browns. Just as long as Baker gets all of his grocery shopping and stuff done, and so he can get back.
Yep.
Because I see him on TV buying groceries and stuff.
I agree. Washington versus Carolina.
Carolina with Cam Newton back. Washington coming off the high of beating Tampa Bay. You know what? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. I rallied behind my squad because they had the big win over the Saints and said that they were going to beat Dallas. Washington fans, I respect your squad. I got no love for the front office, but I respect your squad. Mm-hmm. And I caught myself getting ready to say, y'all are coming off the momentum of a big win over TB12. Cam Newton is back, and he got an axe to grind and a point to prove. And unless the defense is 100% healthy, y'all are not going to know if he's throwing it, if he's running it, and he might fake throwing it and hand it off to CMC. Yeah. I'm just saying. That's all I got to say. I wasn't Lee. Calm down now. We just talking. She defended. Look, she must be on everybody's payroll. She out there defending LeBron. She out there defending Cam. Look, she got a law firm. Are you a star athlete? Are you a professional? Have you or any of your colleagues been bullied on the internet by Anthony/Mr. Fingaz on Nathan Snell's podcast? Call us today. You may have a case. Call the Lee and Lee firm today. Call the Lee and Lee firm today. I got jokes, man. I got jokes today.
Oh my gosh. That was funny. That was a good one. The Tennessee Titans are going to beat the Houston Texans.
Guaranteed.
I go with you on that one for sure. They have shown that even though King Henry is out, that they can get it done.
They don't need Derrick Henry to beat the Houston Texans.
Well, true, but my point is now my only concern is they're going to make the playoffs. That's they're going to make the playoffs. How are they going to fare in the playoffs
without Derrick Henry?
And when they don't have to play substitute teachers anymore, and they got to play the big boys for real.
Well, I think AP and McNichols, can definitely pick up.
I keep forgetting they got AP. I keep forgetting they picked him up. I was like, dang, my man back in the league. All right, much love. And then it just went flip, foul.
The San Francisco 49ers are beating the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Guaranteed.
I'm with you on that one. Trevor Lawrence cannot do it by himself.
No, he can't. And something tells me with that defense too, after the surprising ass whooping they gave the Los Angeles Rams.
Relationship with your
Oh my
children.
God.
However, Cooper Kupp did help me get a win in fantasy football. So, listen, before I went into corporate finance, I really considered finance law.
See, I knew it was something about you. I just saw with a name like Lee, you had to work for. I was like, with a name like Lee, you got to do something with law, and that does sound like a tight law firm right there. Lee and Lee Associates.
I like it. I like it. This is going to be the. I doubt he'll ever see this, but shout out to the urinating tree. That's his YouTube name. This is the Tank Bowl.
Wait. Hold on. Time out. You mean to tell me I've been dogging Stephen A. Smith and LeBron James hairlines for 2 hours, and you had somebody on the chat named Urinating Tree, and I didn't know?
YouTube.
On the YouTube chat, and I didn't know?
Well, it's a YouTube channel. His name is the Urinating Tree.
Oh, I thought they were in the... Oh, God. Really?
No.
I thought it was somebody in the chat. I was getting ready to say, come on now.
No.
It's been a quite ironic after that clip you just played.
This is quoting him a Tank Bowl. The Dolphins versus the New York Jets. Anthony, who do you think?
The Dolphins have been kind of going around Daviding up on a few Goliaths. So
yeah,
I think the Dolphins could get it done. Plus, Tua's growing that really nice patchy 2 o'clock shadow, trying to look tough. So he's kind of like a Polynesian Jason Statham. It'd be great if he just rolled up the line. If he just rolled up to the line of scrimmage and goes, "All right, you guys, I want you guys to go. You go that way. You go left. He's going to come this way. I'm going to get him with it, and then we'll touchdown all day. That's what we got." Yeah, seriously.
Perfect.
Hey, look. Hey, welcome to the Big Nate podcast. And I know Nate normally runs a little bit long anyway, but if you're wondering why we're running so late tonight, it's me. Oh, my God.
Oh, my goodness. Sean Spencer wanted me to ask you really quick. To go back to,
Wait a minute. It's rare. It's rare when I say something, crack myself up, and then I just heard myself in my head saying Polynesian Jason. He's right, mate. All right. What's Sean got to ask me, man?
He wants to know Baker Mayfield's personality with OBJ's personality. Like, what do you think went wrong there?
I think Baker Mayfield reminds me of a suburban California mom who wears hemp clothes and puts the kid in timeout. And it's like, you need to express your feelings and tell us what you're really feeling. And OBJ is like that kid, that suburban kid. It's like, no, mom, no, you're not going to tell me that Starbucks did not have the vanilla latte caramel frappuccino because I went down there and they didn't have one and I want one and everybody else has one. There's no reason why I should have one. And like the two of them, it's like Baker's trying to talk him off the ledge. You ever seen them moms at Walmart try to talk to their kids? Come here. Come here. No, come here. Use your words. I swear to God, I said this one time just being silly on Dave and I, the Ball Pit Pocket. It's part of one of the sound clips we have. It's like, why is it? Ever since I said that, I swear to God, if I go to Walmart on a busy day, like a Saturday or anytime during like rush hour, like a super center, swear to God, here's somebody's kid falling all the way. Slap
hold
out.
on. Watch that suburban California stereotype.
Lucinda, you wear hemp? I'm just saying. I didn't know. Hey, holla at me. Let me find out. Not like, you know what I'm saying? You wear hemp and all that kind of stuff. I'm talking about all the way the trope. I'm talking about the trope. The mom and the dad surf and they wear puka shells and all of that kind of stuff. And they drive around in one of those Woody station wagons and I'm sorry, they drive a Honda Pilot, the Honda Pilot hybrid, and that kind of stuff. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the Real Housewives of Orange County. That's not what I'm talking about. That's a whole different stereotype. Yeah, see, that's different though, Lucinda, because you came up different. I'm just saying. I believe every kid once they get 2 years old, they get the right to punch them in the stomach or the throat. I'm just saying, you grown enough to talk back. You grown enough to get knocked what we like to call. You know to get called. You know, you talking, you big mama talking to somebody like that. She hit you, smack you in the back of your throat, make your teeth click together. Somebody knock a pause in you. Better go around from here before you get messed up around here. Tell you we ain't got no milk and cookies.
Rest in peace, Bernie Mac.
I said, where you going? Where you going? He said, get some milk and cookies. I had to ask McGinnis. It said so funny. He said, get some what? He said, some milk and cookies. Yes. Rest in peace, Bernie. Love you, brother. Anyway, what were we talking about? Baker and OBJ. Okay. The two of them are like oil and water.
Yeah.
Baker is I got the feeling that Baker has a lot of quartz and crystals and burned sage and stuff like that. I'm not even being funny. Like the things that I've seen from him and his wife and things like that. I think he's very into that kind of stuff. And OBJ is he wants to be loud. OBJ wants to be seen. Period.
I agree with that. Let's go back. This is a Tank Bowl with the Dolphins versus the Jets.
Oh, that's right. I forgot we was talking about a tree that likes to. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. I'm with you. The Miami Dolphins.
Guaranteed.
The Jets suck. I'm sorry. Zach Wilson is a rookie. There's nothing to build on New York. There's just nothing. And they got Joe Flacco out there.
They played so badly that their number one fan retired from his fandom.
Oh, the fireman.
Fireman Joe or whatever his name was.
Yeah.
When you make your number one fan stop coming to your games, you know you're in trouble.
Fireman, yeah, that's bad.
Somebody do something like that, you know they soul hurt. All right, I'm done with Bernie, Mac. The Bernie, thank you. Appreciate you coming out. For sure. You know what I'm saying? I say, Your Honor, you mean separate like divide?
The Saints versus the Eagles.
Ooh,
that's actually not a bad matchup, honestly.
Ooh, that one could go either way. Simeon is the starter for the Saints still, right? Mm-hmm. Simeon has proven himself to be very serviceable. Yeah. I got a feeling if he keeps doing well, then their boy Swiss Army Knife might wind up
Taysom Hill.
I know what I said when I meant it. I know the boy name. I know what I mean. He might find himself having a questionable future with, because he was like they'll still use him, but yeah. He's proven himself to be very serviceable. Jalen, although Jalen is not a top tier quarterback, Jalen still has that fire. He still has that grind. He still has that want to go get it. And he still got I think he still got a chip from the national championship from being sat down. I think he still got a chip. So he's got some stuff to prove. So we'll see. That one is probably a wash for me. I can't really, you know what? Gun to my head, I'm going with Jalen.
I'm with you on this one. This is a good little matchup, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say the Saints. Well, you could go either way.
True.
Go ahead.
No, I said truth.
Cincinnati versus the Oakland Raiders. I'm not saying Las Vegas. I'm sorry.
Cincinnati.
Cincy. I agree.
The Joe twins. The Joe twins, first of all. Then you got
the Joe twins.
Then you got Jamar Chase. And the Raiders are a franchise in disarray right now.
Yeah. Mark Davis knows what he has to do after this year.
Rome is on fire. Rome is burning right now when it comes to the Raiders.
Exactly, Oakland Raiders. I'm not saying Las Vegas, and he knows what he's got to do. He's going to have to clean house. Man, but you know, as rest in peace, versus who that the Cincinnati Bengals. As Al Davis used to say, rest in peace. Just win, baby. Just win.
Just win, baby, win. Time and time again while I'm sipping on his gin.
The Kansas City Chiefs versus the Dallas Cowboys.
Relationship with your
Oh
children.
my God.
I'm giving Cowboys the edge. I know that's and I think that's why you said it that way, because the way the Chiefs are playing, they've been inconsistent so far this season, but they're finding a groove. So I think it'll be a better it will be a better contest this weekend than it would have been if they played a couple weeks ago.
I can't believe I'm really going to say this. The Dallas Cowboys are going to upset the Kansas City Chiefs.
Guaranteed.
I know that hurt in your spirit to say that. Y'all pray for our dear brother Nathan right now. His soul is hurting, and he just needs a little prayer and some anointing, and he'll be okay. But he's hurt. His spirit hurt right now. His spirit is hurting out right now. When like in the Bible where the man said, my God, have thou forsaken me." That's how Nathan's feeling right now. Huh?
She's taking the Kansas City Chiefs.
Okay, I ain't mad at that.
We got the Cardinals versus the Seahawks. Really quick, I just want to get on the Seahawks. I don't know what made the okay for Russell Wilson after coming off an injury, particularly playing in Lambeau, where we all know how cold as hell it is up there. He was not ready to play football last week, and they look a mess without him.
I tell you why he played. Sierra said if you want some more cutty, you got to better get out there and earn that money.
Oh.
And then he was like, baby, he was like, but baby.
Okay, Lee.
And he was like, but baby, my finger. And then he turned around and say something to her. She was dressed in that outfit, talking about level up. And he was like, hey coach, I'm gonna be late to the meeting, but I'll be ready to play on Sunday.
Well, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, that's what the podcast.
You stupid.
No, I'm just kidding. I haven't heard anything about Kyler. Is he a good to go for the game?
I've heard nothing either, so I don't know.
It's a game time decision. Okay, I just need to know from these coaches, this is to all 32 teams. Please say something the night before. Don't wait till 12:50, 3:50, 7:59 and say, "Oh, he's not playing." Like that. This is getting really annoying. Seattle versus Arizona. Arizona is used to warm climates. Are they playing at home or in Seattle? They are in Seattle.
That's gonna be interesting.
And I'm going to have to roll with the Cardinals.
But say it for what it is. It doesn't like you again. All that you're getting paid a goodly amount of money, and you can't just go on. Oh well, it sucks. It does suck playing in the cold, but you got to still play.
Right.
Got to play, and you got to win.
And also too, the way the Seahawks are starting to unravel. I'm really to get blanketed like that, but they're not the same team they were from 2014.
No, they're not.
They're just not. And I think it's a shame to call for Pete Carroll's job. I talked about that with Sean. That makes no sense. I blame, if anything, I blame front office. The same thing, ladies and gentlemen. Like with transition to basketball, Damian Lillard, Russell Wilson, same kind of situation. They're carrying a team, and there's not really much around them. So, why are they going to stay in those? Why stay on a team that you have no help? Just saying. But I think the Arizona Cardinals are going to upset the Seattle Seahawks. The San Diego Chargers. I'm not saying Los Angeles. Well, let me be respectful. Los Angeles Chargers versus the Pittsburgh Steelers.
After last week, I'm going with the Chargers.
I agree with you.
The Steelers could not beat the Detroit Lions. I'm sorry, Kat. The Steelers couldn't beat the Lions.
Seahawks. Okay, Lee.
I'm not even gonna put any more qualifiers on it. The Steelers could not beat the Steelers couldn't beat the Lions. They wound up ending a game in a tie. I've seen games where the weather was nasty and yada yada yada, but the Steelers could not beat the Lions. They couldn't come out of a tie in overtime.
That was embarrassing. It really was. Mason Rudolph threw the ball well over 50 times. Why did Najee Harris not get the ball? Why did Farmarth not go out of bounds? Like, oh my gosh! Like,
wait a minute. You mentioned something about Dame Lillard not having no supporting cast around him. You know who else ain't got no supporting cast around them either? Them hairs on Stephen A. Smith's hairline.
Oh.
They ain't got his. When are we gonna say something about that?
Oh my goodness. You know what? This is in Monday Night Football. Listen, this is how it's going to look Monday Night Football. It's Tom Brady versus the New York Giants. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to blow out the New York Giants.
Guaranteed.
I'm with you. I'm with you on that one. Watch the
score be like 51-10.
I'm with you on that one.
They're going to beat up on the Giants.
Tom particularly has an axe to grind with the Giants no matter where he is, because they are the team that accounted for 2 of his 3 Super Bowl losses. It doesn't matter who's on the squad. All the people that was on the Giants squad are gone, even the coach, and he's still going to whoop them like they stole something.
Yeah, that's something just tells me it's going to be a blowout game like that. So that's our picks for Week 11 of the NFL season. We're going to transition. In the college football, this is Anthony's bread and butter. It's week 12 of the college football season, and we've got Memphis versus ranked number 17, Houston. They're actually playing right now, actually. Who do you think is going to win that game?
I'm going to give that one to Houston, but I will say this. Memphis is always a scrappy opponent, regardless of their record. Basketball, not their
They're
only
getting there.
Basketball, not their only sport. I mean, Coach Cal was at Memphis and then he left and went to Kentucky, but he left a decent foundation. Yeah. But I'm giving the edge to Houston in this one, just because it's the end of the season. Houston has the ability to close the game out. They've you got 2 more weeks of football after this. And Houston didn't just get into the top 25 just by accident. So I'm giving the edge to Houston.
Okay. San Diego, ranked number 23, San Diego State versus UNLV.
I didn't even know UNLV kept sports going after Tark the Shark left. No, I'm playing. That's San Diego State.
Okay.
Too easy. San Diego State.
Prairie View versus ranked 16th Texas A&M.
Actually, Prairie View is rated like 7-2 or something like that. So I think it'll be a scrappy first quarter. Not exactly sure how A&M is going to react because I think they had another loss last week. I believe they did. I don't know how they're going to bounce back.
Lost to Mississippi.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. They lost to Ole Miss. They
already guaranteed that. We said San Francisco was going to beat the Jacksonville Jaguars. I guaranteed it.
I don't know how they're going to this is the time. It's the end of the season. They need to bounce back. And I tell you why. Because the SEC West is not decided yet. there are 4 teams in the West that can potentially win that division and go to the championship. Bama right now is in first place. Ole Miss is in second, but you've also got Arkansas, Texas A&M. If A&M wins out and Bama loses out and Ole Miss beats Vandy but loses to Mississippi State, guess what? Texas A&M wins the West and goes to the championship. So this is basically a do or die scenario. They need to do their part. I think they will.
Okay. It looks like as of right now, the Memphis versus Houston game is delayed at the moment. Ranked number 13, Wake Forest versus Clemson. Who you got?
I'm gonna call an audible on this one. I'm pulling Clemson in this one.
Okay.
I think Clemson manages to. It's a conference game. It's the end of the season. Clemson has got nothing to play for at this point because they were ranked, I think, third in the country. They were ranked third in the country in week 1, and they fell all the way out of the top 25. They're not going to get. They might still be able to get in the conference championship, but that's about it. And that's another long stretch. There's a whole bunch of different pieces of the puzzle they got to put together, like Indiana Jones looking for the Temple of Doom. But I think Clemson's going to. I think Clemson might shock Wake Forest because I think their confidence was shook heavily with that loss.
Okay. I like it. I like that. Now, I think this is game of the week. The Ohio State versus Michigan State.
Ooh, that's a tough one. Ohio State definitely proved themselves to be dominant after the season opening loss to Oregon, which turned out to not be so bad a thing because Oregon is ranked, I think OSU and Oregon are 3 and 4 or 4 and 3. I may have them backwards.
Oregon's ranked number 4. Yeah.
I think Mel Tucker has proven himself to be a force to be reckoned with in the Big Ten. Shout outs to him. I don't know if you saw. He was on the short list for the LSU job, and the boosters were like, nope. And they came through and they told the AD, you sign that man, we'll come up with the money to pay him. He just got a $95 million, 10 years, $95 million.
Yep. That's the contract.
Yeah. So Mel Tucker is right now making as much money as Nick Saban. Put that in your cap and put that in your pipe and smoke it.
Let that sink in.
Yeah. Thank you. I mixing all my analogies up. Make like a tree and get out of here. I think Mel Tucker's going to get his guys up for this game. Now, one thing that Ohio State has shown, if you beat them in the mouth, if you come out, you beat them in the mouth and get them off their game, sometimes it's a little hard for them to make that comeback because they've had a couple of close calls. And I think if there's any team in the Big Ten is running their gauntlet right now. Because I don't know who Ohio State plays next week, but they got Michigan State this week. They got Michigan in 2 weeks. They're playing Michigan State this week, and I think they're playing. Did they play Purdue?
Ohio State plays Michigan next week.
Oh, that's next week?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, they're running their gauntlet right now. If there's any team that can punch Ohio State in the mouth and make them rock back, it's Michigan State. This year is Michigan State. I'm looking for that one to be a slugfest. But I think Michigan State pulls it out in a squeaker.
Okay. Iowa State versus Oklahoma.
Ooh. I have I have made a lot of good friends and acquaintances here in Oklahoma City in the last 3 years. There is no mistake who the favorite of the two major programs here is. Head and shoulders, it is the Sooners. I am going to say Iowa State, and I'll tell you why. Iowa State, there are several teams in the Big 12 that are sneaky. They might not be in the running for the conference championship, but they're sneaky and they'll get you. And that is Baylor. We saw that happen last week. Iowa State, they're playing them this week. Texas Tech every other year or so. And Oklahoma State. Well, there's no mistake. Oklahoma State is basically 1-2. It's always Oklahoma State, and then Baylor right behind. But those three teams are sneaky, and they're playing one of them this week. The Big 12 is also in their gauntlet phase of the season. The SEC is kind of mid-loaded. They get the easy games up front, then the mid-load, and then they get the easy games on the back end. They're running their gauntlet right now, and I don't know how they're going to recover one from last week's loss. Spencer Rattler, if he wasn't checked out before last Saturday, is definitely checked out now. He that was his moment to shine. It was like the longest yard. Coach tapped him, said, "Go in, let Caleb get a couple of breathers, get some reps." He was getting ready to have his Brucey's moment to shine. He went 3 for 4 for like 36 yards. Coach said, "Okay, that's enough. Come sit down," and put Caleb back in the game. So there's a Spencer Rattler drama. Caleb is not accustomed to losing like that. The defense, which we said was suspect all year, really showed how suspect they were. The offense could not get anything going. Kennedy Brooks was not he didn't have the run game to support. Poor Marvin Mims couldn't get open. Caleb took the whole thing on his shoulders and tried to win it. And on top of that, add to that drama the fact that Lincoln Riley's name showed up on the short list for LSU as well. And last week on Wednesday, he was not present to perform to moderate the coaches' press conference. He gave that job to his assistant coaches. And so now everybody's been playing detective and trying to figure out if did he take a car
or something.
Yeah, did he get in the car and drive? Because they've got an airfield down there in Norman. So they were like, no, the plane didn't go anywhere. So people were like, did he rent a car? Did he drive to the next available? Did he drive somewhere and then catch a plane from there? Blah, blah, blah. Like they're trying to figure out. And he's already come out and said, I am the coach of the University of Oklahoma. I don't know what I have to tell you guys. But I know what I can tell you. I know what I personally, Anthony, can tell you guys. How many times have you seen somebody come out and say, absolutely, unequivocally not, I'm staying here. This is where I want to stay. And at the end of the season, the next thing smoking to go get that new contract.
Yeah, good point.
So I don't know. I want to say I want the Sooners to win. I'm not a homer, but I've gained a lot of respect for the Sooners since I've been here. I want the Sooners to win. I don't think they get it done this Saturday. And the messed up part about that is if the Sooners win, that eliminates them from playoff contention.
Okay.
If they lose, they eliminate it.
Got you. Charleston Southern versus the
University of Georgia.
Okay.
That defense is too much. I see the first string getting pulled by second string will be out playing by the second half. Because at this point, we got Charleston Southern tomorrow. We got Georgia Tech and Atlanta next week. The conference championship game the week after. There's no point in overexerting any of these guys and getting them hurt out there trying to get some garbage time. So if it means Coach Kirby Smart, please, if you can hear me, if you're under the sound of my voice, I know if you're up by like 60-something to 3, I don't care if they score 3 touchdowns. I know the defense is only allowed a certain amount of touchdowns per game. I think as of right now, 63, maybe 70 points over the course of 10 games, which means they're essentially holding opponents to still 7 points. That's very respectable. Please do not get our starters hurt trying to protect the record. I'd be more satisfied with a national championship as a fan than I would be going back saying, yeah, we lost the SEC championship game because half our guys were hurt. But boy, that defense was something, wasn't it? I want the hardware. I haven't seen Georgia hoist a trophy in 41 years. I was 9 years old last time they won a trophy. Let's go get this hardware. Let's play smart. That's all I got.
Okay. Illinois versus ranked number 18th in Iowa.
Iowa. Illinois has been a spoiler. I think they pulled a spoiler on somebody this season. I don't know who, but I'm going to go with Iowa. Even though Iowa's kind of been knocked out of Big Ten contention, they still can get a good. And I think they're already bowl eligible. I think they still can knock some heads and just make some people pay attention. So I'm giving that one to Iowa.
Okay.
Because they're playing at home in Iowa, aren't they?
Yes.
Oh yeah, Iowa all day.
Georgia Tech versus number 6 Notre Dame.
Oh man, listen. I have a very good friend who is a huge Notre Dame fan. He and I traveled down to Charlottesville to see Notre Dame take on the Wahoos of the University of Virginia, which Notre Dame won. Notre Dame join a conference. Put some real teams on your schedule. I saw a thing the other day that said that Notre Dame is that a deal is in the works for Notre Dame to join the ACC, but they don't have to adhere to the rules that the other ACC teams get to adhere to. Like they get to play Navy every year. There's certain games that will not count as conference games, even though they're in the same conference, and they get to pick, and they kind of get to cherry pick which teams they get to play. I'm not down with that action. Pick a conference, get in there, knock some heads. You're one of the most storied programs in the nation's history of American rules football. And your fans keep saying, we don't get any respect. We don't get any respect. You don't get any respect because you have your own television deal. You are an independent. You get to cherry pick who you play every year. And every year since the inception of the CFP, you get into the play, you either get in the playoffs and get massacred or something. Get in there and start banging heads with the big boys for real. And then I'll be impressed with you. You're getting ready to play Georgia Tech. We're playing Georgia Tech next week. Georgia Tech is almost like on you know what I'm saying? It's a done deal. Get in there and knock heads with some people. I'm giving Notre Dame, I'm giving them the game. And kudos to Brian Kelly. He has now well eclipsed Knute Rockne's record by I think 4 or 5 games now, because he broke the record I think in week 6. He tied the record in week 6 and broke it in week 7. Go play some real teams. That's all I got for y'all. Edge to Notre Dame.
Okay, I agree with you on that. Let's see. Let me take over this one, please. The University of Maryland versus Michigan. You know, this is senior day for my Terps. Excuse me. 25 seniors. Listen, we last week we got our ass kicked by Michigan State. Missed opportunities to be the main cause of the loss. Tula's brother has been.
Wait a minute, whose brother?
Tula.
I thought Tula was the brother.
I'm sorry. Tula has a brother that plays for the University of Maryland. I can't remember Talia.
Oh, I thought you were saying the younger brother's name. Yeah, two. Okay, never mind. I'm gonna shut up. You said what you said when you meant it.
I know we're missing our two best wide receivers due to injury. We're now going on 5 weeks, and then we're down another man. So it's like we're like watching. You remember that show back in the day, Ant MASH?
Yes,
that's what it's looking like. That's what he has to work with. He actually could break the record. He's off. He could, I think, the single season record. University of Maryland is going to upset Michigan.
Guaranteed.
I think if they can get a good running game going, I think Maryland can surprise Michigan.
Hold on. I'm trying to process what you just said. Maryland is going to beat Michigan.
You heard it right.
Okay. All right, brother.
SMU versus number 3 ranked Cincinnati.
Ooh. Cincinnati has had a couple of close calls. I think SMU, I don't have enough data on SMU to make an informed decision. What I do know is that kid Tanner Mordecai was actually slated to be the starting quarterback at Oklahoma once Kyler left, and Lincoln Riley kind of did the 52 fake out when he found out Rattler was coming on campus.
Okay.
Tanner transferred to SMU, And so now the starting quarterback that Lincoln Riley put all of his eggs in one basket for is sitting on the bench, and Tanner Mordecai is the starting quarterback that is lighting them up at SMU. I think this one is going to be another slugfest, and I am going to step out and give the edge to SMU.
Okay. We're going to do kind of like a quick. We're going to be quick with it. Ranked 20th, Pittsburgh versus Virginia.
Pitt.
Ranked 19th, Wisconsin versus Nebraska.
I choked because I started to say Nebraska. I really did. I'm not even being funny. Wisconsin.
UAB versus ranked 15 UTSA.
We're giving that one to UTSA.
Okay.
Wait. UAB. What is UAB's? What's their record right now?
7-3.
I think UAB pulls the upset this week.
Okay. Let's see where are we at. We've got. Oh, sorry, look at the wrong week. Where am I? What? Here we go. Ranked 21 Arkansas versus ranked number 2 Alabama.
This is another situation that I was talking about. Arkansas needs to win out, and they need all hell to break loose in their wake, but they still have a shot if they win both their games and everything else falls into place to get into the SEC West. I think Alabama's defense has been not as up to par as that 2011 squad, I think it was, that won the national championship, or even last year's team. Last year's defense was just crazy. I think Arkansas. I'm going with Arkansas. I listen. I know Alabama can put up big gaudy numbers on offense, but you saw in week 1 that Florida put up numbers on them as well. And
hold on, didn't I say when you were with Sean? You said who could beat Alabama, and Florida was one of those teams?
I did, and they almost did. They didn't. They did not get the job done, but they showed us that it can be done. And Texas A&M did it. And I think that with their defense not being able to really stop anybody like that, I think it can be done. Like Arkansas is I forgot who that was. This is not going to be a repeat of last week of Alabama beating the crap out of New Mexico State. This is a new and improved Arkansas. And oh God, what's your boy's name that's in Arkansas coaching? He came up on the short list too for LSU, and he said, "Nope, I'm good."
I can't think of who you're talking about. But I think I might have an idea who you mean.
I cannot think of his name right now to save my face. And I just was reading about him before we came on. Anyway, who we got next?
Syracuse versus ranked 25 NC State.
I'm going on upset week. I'm thinking upset weekend this weekend. I'm giving Q's the edge over NC State.
Okay.
I think at some of the mid to lower levels, there's going to be a few more shakeups because there's been shakeups every week. And I can't just predict the ranked teams, all the ranked teams win just because they're ranked. So I'm thinking Syracuse could potentially come up with a shakeup.
Ranked 14th BYU versus Georgia Southern.
Georgia Southern is not very good. Little history about Georgia Southern. When the Dogs won their 1980 championship, the defensive coordinator of the Dogs was a man named Irk Russell. Irk Russell left the program when Georgia Southern rebooted their football program in Statesboro. And Georgia Southern is literally about maybe an hour down the road from where I grew up in Savannah. They rebooted the football program. Irk Russell went down there and built a dynasty in whatever division it was at the time. Like Georgia Southern won, 5 3 or 4 national championships back to back, and was in and played in a couple more championships behind that. And then when Irk retired, his successor carried that same success forward. They're not that good. The new coach is not that good. They've struggled. They've struggled mightily this year, and I foresee Georgia Southern's not going to win.
Okay.
I said all that to say that Georgia Southern's not going to win.
Ranked number 22, Louisiana versus Liberty.
Louisiana, ULM, Louisiana Monroe versus Liberty.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Louisiana. I'll get that one in Louisiana.
Okay. Ranked, Lucinda can give us the answer on this one. Ranked number 11, Baylor versus Kansas State.
Well, she's probably a few seconds behind us because we're, but I'm going to give my prediction. I'm going to say Baylor. Baylor's on a roll. They're still trying to get into the Big 12 championship. They still have a shot, but some things have got to happen. They're going to need, they already have the tiebreaker over Oklahoma. They need Oklahoma State to lose. So I think Baylor's knocking heads tomorrow.
I'm with you on that. And just for the record, the Lady Terps will beat the Baylor Bears.
Guaranteed.
University of Maryland basketball.
That's not too far fetched. That's not far fetched at all. Lady Terps have that. That's a good basketball program.
It's coming. It's coming. Trust me. Those girls are going to win a national championship. Vanderbilt versus ranked number 10 Mississippi.
Ole Miss all day. Vandy's got no nothing in them. It's the end of the year. They got 2 games left. Their whole goal at this point is just please don't get hurt.
I'm with you on that. I agree with you 1,000%. They've been dealing with some injuries, so I mean they've been moving, they've been going along, but they're missing some key guys.
The best I've ever seen the Vanderbilt program is when Derek Mason was the coach there, and they were not good there then either. So
Ole Miss,
yeah, that's Ole Miss all day. Matt Corral is probably going to finish. He's probably going to wind up being a finalist.
Let's get Bayless
for the Heisman. What? Ole Miss?
No, Vanderbilt.
Oh, that explains a lot of things. Wait a minute. I joke, but academically, they're a great school.
They are. They really are a good school. Ranked number 4 Oregon versus ranked number 24 Utah.
I'm going Oregon in a squeaker.
Yeah,
the Utes are streaking, and I realize as I said Utes, I can hear the judge right now saying, "Excuse me, Mr. Gambini, the what's the 2 what's? Did you say Ute? What is a Ute?" Anyway, Utah.
Lucinda saying Utah.
Oh, really? Okay, I see you. I'm not mad at that. I mean, Utah is streaking. Anything is possible. Like I said, this has been an absolutely crazy college football season, and there has been an upset of some sort every single weekend.
And then the Sunday night football game, or really Saturday night football. Oklahoma State ranked number 9 versus Texas Tech.
Oklahoma State, like I said, they're coming. This is the best that I've seen them in the 3 years I've been here anyway. This is the best that I've seen them. This is the best record that they've had. They are still in the hunt for the conference championship. They really, I think they are looking at every single game as a warm-up to Bedlam at the end of the season versus Oklahoma. And realistically speaking, if both those teams went out, how about this for a weird one? If Oklahoma State and Oklahoma both went out, or if they both went all the way out, I'm sorry, if Oklahoma wins all the way out and beats Oklahoma State in Bedlam, they still would have to turn around and play Oklahoma State the next week in the Big 12 championship. So if Oklahoma State wins tomorrow, loses to Oklahoma next week, they still got the second spot. They play Oklahoma, and yeah, it's weird. So I'm giving that game to Oklahoma State.
Okay, I'm with you. Ladies and gentlemen, that is college football week 12. Coming down to this wire stretch is a big game for everybody. Must-win games for everyone to try to get in there and get a bowl game, especially.
Can I be completely frank?
Go ahead.
One of the things that makes me sad, knowing that the end of the regular college football season is upon us, is the Fanville commercials. Like, I wasn't a fan when they replaced the Dr. Pepper guy, Larry, and they brought in Fanville. I was like, this is dumb. Bring back Larry. And then it started to suck me in. So now all these different storylines. I'm sad that there's not going to be any more Fanville in a few more weeks. I know that sounds dumb, but it's the truth.
Really quick, so from Ohio State is first place in the Big Ten. Michigan 6-1. Michigan State is 6-1. So whoever wins, they got to play Wisconsin and Iowa. Ooh.
Oh yeah, that was the whole thing. I saw something on that with the Big Ten. If Wisconsin wins out and winds up playing in the conference championship and winning, they will effectively have eliminated the Big Ten from playoff contention. Because at that point, they would be the conference champion, but at that point, everybody else's win-loss record would eliminate the Big Ten from even getting a spot. So right now, everybody in the Big Ten is rooting for Wisconsin to lose.
Please.
Right?
Please. We're going to transition to Julius Jones. You live in Oklahoma. Give me your thoughts on the situation. He got his he was set to be executed. I want to say, was it Thursday?
He was supposed to be executed at 4 p.m. yesterday.
And the governor commuted, just said, stop. He lives another day to fight for his freedom, a crime he did not commit. I believe it will be, what was the other guy, Chris Jordan, that was his name?
Mm-hmm.
All the evidence points to him, and Julius Jones was framed. How do you feel that athletes, NFL basketball, really came, and also to the city, the state of those really came out as really fought to get this man freed?
Well, one thing that I will say is that the fraternity, my fraternity, was really at the forefront here in the community in their efforts to petition, to make the calls, and they were, disseminating the number, who to call, when to call, that kind of thing. I think, to be completely honest, I breathed a huge sigh of relief when I saw that his sentence had been commuted, because the governor had already had the Oklahoma Highway Patrol set up barricades around the governor's mansion, around the state capitol. And okay, solid. Got your message. Cool. And in anticipation. And at that point, when the order was given to do that, I think it was his intent to not commute his sentence. I don't know who it was that got to him. Yeah, because why else would you do that unless you were? Because if he had, okay, put it like this: he commuted Julius Jones' sentence. Nobody rioted. Nobody went downtown.
Nope.
You understand? Why would he put those barriers up unless he was anticipating? I think it was his intent to not commute his sentence. I don't know who got to him. I don't know who said whatever they needed to say to him and showed him, listen, even if you commute the sentence, he's not free. He's still in jail. He's still on a life sentence. And if he gets to be proven, if it turns out later on there's more investigation and it's proven that he did not do it, then he's still alive for you to be able to come back and do what is right by him and say, hey, look, We thought this guy at the point, all the evidence at the time, all the evidence pointed to him being guilty. We discovered through a preponderance of the evidence that he's not. We are going to give him his life back, let him go. Boom, boom, boom. I'm not even gonna lie to you, man. I was mad nervous.
For sure.
I was mad nervous because we've seen the aftermath of what happens and things like Michael Brown.
Yep.
And what happened in South Carolina behind Walter Scott, and what
Breonna
happened
Taylor.
in Wisconsin. I'm sorry, Breonna Taylor. We saw what happened last year or earlier this year. Was it last year or earlier this year? That was last year in Wisconsin, which led to. And I don't even want to. I hope we're not talking about the other one.
No, we're not.
Okay,
we're not.
But you see those things that happen when people are frustrated, when they feel like justice has not been served. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's right. I've had some frustrations in my life. I've never gone anywhere with a Molotov cocktail or a baseball bat and taken any damage to anything. But some people get frustrated. I think that Oklahoma City would be licking its wounds today if his sentence had not been commuted. I'm just saying that the number of people that were down there already, the kids all across the area walked out. They staged walkouts in support of Julius Jones. I think it would have been some stuff. I'm not gonna lie.
I hear you.
So I'm glad that he commuted the sentence. So I guess that's about all I have to say about that, man. I went through so many range of emotions yesterday that it's just kind of,
you can take a sigh of relief.
Yeah,
for sure. To wrap this, let's let this up. Is political organization matters. I think we have, when we go to these polls, who are your mayors, your DAs, your judges, district attorneys, because they have a more profound impact on your everyday life.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the system, it sucks. It really does. Because there are people who obviously there's a situation, the wrong place at the wrong time. And here's a guy who's had most of his life behind bars for something I guarantee you come down the pipe. He was not the person who committed the crime. And there's multiple people like that. And I'm happy that it got commuted, and now he has a chance to fight for his freedom.
The thing that I'm happiest for him is, once he was put on death row, he couldn't have any visitors. He's able to hug his mom for the first time in forever. Like, my mother and I, we fuss, we fight.
Reason people need to vote start at the city and county and state level, then federal levels.
Well, here's the fallback on that also. The people that we elect, and it doesn't matter. I don't care what side of the blue party, the red party, the green party. I don't care. The people that we elect, we need to hold them accountable. Because these folks, we're already starting to see the shift in the midterm elections. Virginia, who was a blue state for all the time I lived there, is now a red state. Mm-hmm. Then you have to hold people accountable, and you can't just wait until it's the big election that you're waiting for. You got to go vote for the small stuff too.
The small stuff.
I know it's a pain in the butt. It can be a little bit of an inconvenience, but we always like to holler about our constitutional right. We have a right. I got a right to free speech. I got a right to not do blah, blah, blah. I got a right to do such and such and such. One of the most important rights that you have, I don't care what side of the fence you're on, is to vote. And so many times,
ladies and gentlemen.
And so many times we don't go vote. Oh, school council doesn't affect me, until the school council suddenly passes some kind of regulation that affects your child or your grandchild. Oh, the such and such doesn't affect me. Oh, the mayoral election, the mayor's just a figurehead, until the mayor passes some type of regulation that affects your local taxation, that affects revenue shares and taxation in in the area in which you live. It's important to go vote for all of those, for each and I'm guilty myself. The only election that I have participated in so far since we've been here is a gubernatorial election. Nope, that took place before we got here. The presidential election, and there was some kind of smaller election about 6 months before that I took place in, that I participated in. But we gotta vote. Go vote, and then hold those people accountable. And if they said keep the receipts, if they said I'm gonna make sure that there's a pig in every pot, and you looking and ain't no pig in your pot, then you need to go down and where the hell's my pig? I wanted ribs this weekend. I had my cousins and them coming for Thanksgiving. Now I ain't got no pigs. Now instead of greens, beans, potatoes, tomatoes, lamb, ram, hog, now I got green bean, potatoes, tomatoes, lamb, ram, no hog. So I need my pig in my pot. I say that being funny to kind of keep the situation light, but it's the truth.
Right.
Hold your politicians accountable because they are the service of the people. It's not the other way around.
Yeah. Amen. Let me ask one more. I got two more questions. Are you aware that Zach Stacy got arrested?
I just heard about that today.
Okay, I'm not. Have you seen the video?
I have not, and I probably won't watch it.
Yeah, I would. Don't watch it. It's gruesome, uncalled for.
I made that mistake with the Ray Rice video, and I said, if there's anything that depicts any type of abuse at this point going forward, I can't.
No,
I mean Ray Rice hit his wife like she was a grown man, and she dropped like a sack of. I don't want to watch that.
No, this one and that was worser.
Oh, really?
That was worser.
Okay.
And the fact that you got a 5-month-old child makes no sense.
Yeah, I'm really That's not cool at all.
My last question, and that is going to wrap up episode 16, ladies and gentlemen. What is your message to those who aspire?
Aspire to what, or just anything in general?
Anything in general. Aspire to be great. Aspire to be something. Just aspire to whatever the dreams they want to follow.
Well, you and I talked about early on in the show. God, it's been 3 hours. This has basically been like a network radio show. We need some sponsors and some commercial breaks, and we'll be right back after this message. We'll be right back with more from the Nate Snell podcast. Hey, fellas, are you having trouble, during your special time? Come see us, and we'll do pills and shoot you full of stuff, and then you'll be able to do special time all the time. And back now for the Nate Snell podcast. Hey, Nate, what's going on? I'm Anthony on the Nate Snell podcast. Nate and I were just talking about people who aspire to things. Well, the first thing I tell them is if they're aspiring too much, they need to go down on aisle 3, I think it is, the grocery store, and get some I forgot what degree. It works for me real well. See, I got stain. I didn't even think I had some pit stains. Oops, my bad. You got me up in here working, bro. I'm sitting in an air-conditioned house. That don't even make no sense, Jesus. That don't make no sense. You couldn't have put no baby powder under there, nothing. Tussie Red will get you right every time. Anyway.
You got the AC fixed. Good. I'm glad you got it fixed.
Yeah. People that aspire. I think if you have a dream, a concept, or whatever, give it, the only thing I can tell you is give it 878%. Give it 878% if it's something that you really want to do. I talked with Nate earlier on the show about how, Nate, about how as a young adult, I would make little mixtapes and do voiceovers and would give them to people and, try and be the smooth voice with the quiet storm, that kind of thing. And how I got into podcasting, and we did this whole, basically what we're doing right now, except with a 3-person setup and a live studio audience. And it's always been something that I've had an interest in, but I really, really, really started taking it seriously about 3 or 4 years ago. Because before, I was a member of a 3-person cast. Really, all I had to do was show up and be the comic foil. But now I'm the guy that's coming up with the topics and the this and the that and doing all the graphics and all of that good stuff. So I really started getting knee deep into it at that point. All I can tell you is, without risk, you get no results. Without that risk, you get no results. If you don't step out on that ledge and at least try, then you won't know if you'll ever be able to do it. And if you fall a little short, get up and do it again. We hear all the time, practice makes perfect. The new saying, it used to be iron sharpens iron, but now what is it? Pressure busts pipes or makes diamonds. That's the new one that I hear all the time. But without risk, there's no results. Because I very well could have said after that podcast ended, I could have said, well, that was a good run, and then just live in the memory of that heyday, which was 10, 11, 12 years ago. But now here I sit right now. I have my own internet radio station. Mine. I doesn't belong to nobody else. And yes, it's on the internet. And yes, I know there's a million streaming platforms and all that stuff. I have my own internet radio station. I have a family of podcasts. I mean, they're not my podcasts. I have a couple of my own. I have a family of podcasts that I've been a part of. And now I have joined forces with another family of podcasts that is now part of the content. I'm working on a deal to try and get the license. We're still waiting on that license, man. Whoever it is responsible for licensing and royalty fees for music, one of y'all just pick up the phone and call me so I can find out whether or not I can play music or not, because I could have been playing music if I didn't need one. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. I have my own internet radio station. I have a platform that I took and I created a website. I have merchandise. I've got my own merchandise. I've got made shoes. These are my branded shoes right here with the thing on them, just like you're already famous. I got branded clothes and all kinds of stuff. You won't ever know what you are capable of doing until you start to try and do it. Because I never would have thought to make shoes. I never would have thought to make merchandise. I never would have thought to create my own radio station. I started with the podcast, and I was like, okay, let's see what we can do next. Oh wow, you can really do that. Boom, 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 boom. I just dropped a whole new line of merch yesterday for the roundtable. And I got to get with you after we get offline, because we need to get you some merch too, because you got a nice little following and you need to be making you some money off of that. Mm-hmm. I'm doing things that I thought that I never would have thought possible. Granted, I'm a one-man show right now. Hopefully we'll grow, but I'm doing things that I never would have thought I could have done if I hadn't tried. If I let somebody go, oh, you don't want to do that, man. It's just too much of your time and just a waste of time, and you'll never get anywhere. And the market is this and blah, blah, blah. I'm not trying to be big. I'm just trying to build something that I can pass along to my kids. That's it. Something that I enjoy doing that I can pass along to my kids if it becomes fruitful enough. So don't ever let anybody tell you can't. And don't forget, without that risk, there is no reward. And that's all I got. And don't forget to go aisle 3 to Walmart grocery for the degree. That way you won't aspire so much.
Amen. I like that. Oh my goodness. Well, that's going to conclude episode 16 of the podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Anthony, for joining me. I know you got to go to dinner with the missus. I don't want to get you in trouble.
Oh no, you're good, man. You're good.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be sure to like the video, comment, subscribe. Thank you to those that were able to join me. Shout out to Lucinda. Shout out to Lee.
Lee, if you still watching, LeBron is a bad man, but he need a new hairdo. Okay, now I'm done picking at you now. Stephen A. Smith. Until you do right by your hairline, everything you think about, everything you try about, everything you're gonna do gonna fail. You in that 1950s auntie cool mustache. Okay, go ahead.
Russell, Rock with Just Living, Chatting with Common Sense, Ray, Lady Shea, appreciate y'all being here with me tonight. This episode 15, I have them on Anchor I have on Anchor. I'll go to Spotify, check it out. Anthony, thank you, sir.
And it will also be playing, although I will have to chop it up into parts, it will also be playing on the Zagnif One Radio Network.
Yes, thank you. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I hope each and every one of you have a great weekend. Stay safe, do something fun. Let's thank God that we were allowed to see another day. Be blessed. And I will see y'all in the next episode. Appreciate y'all. Much love.
First of all, listen, it's interesting about all these young guys today. They never call on us and say, hey, thanks for the kind word and telling me how great a player I am. But when they play like crap and we call them out, we don't know what we're talking about. Listen, I'm easy to find, but listen, I'm going to criticize guys that they deserve it. And listen, they can kiss my ass if they don't like it.